Mundo ang iyong merkado, ipakita mo kung ano ang kaya mo. With market access, digitalization, and logistics integration, sulong. Let's go! Pilipinas, madali at ligtas, walang hassle. Madali, mabilis, sigurado. Nasa kamay mo ang lahat. Basta e-commerce, sabay-sabay ang pag-angat. Basta e-commerce, madali at ligtas, walang hassle. Madali, mabilis, sigurado. Madali, madali, basta e-commerce. Madali, madali, basta e-commerce.
Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Welcome to the 2002 Philippines SME Workshop entitled Addressing Digital Skill Gaps for Philippines SME. My name is Bernice with my partner Paolo from the Philippine Trade Training Center, Global SME Academy, and we will be your hosts for today.
This workshop is co-organized by the US-ASEAN Business Council, or US-ABC, Department of Trade and Industry, Bureau of Small and Medium Enterprises Development, or BISMED, and the Philippine Trade Training Center, or PTTC, the DTI's training arm, and is supported by the Amazon Web Services, which we'll hear later on. These are what we have prepared for you, our Philippine MSMEs, and we hope that you are excited.
Yes, this is an exciting day, Paolo. But before that, if you are joining us via Zoom, please let us know by using the Zoom chat box where you are joining from. Please put in your city or your town where you are joining us from. We would also like to inform all our panelists and participants that this webinar will be recorded for record-keeping purposes.
And of course, we are also live via Facebook through the ASEAN SME Academy Facebook page, and of course, live on our Facebook page as well, the DTI PTTC's page. And while you are typing where you are coming from, let's give you a short overview of the program. As we all know, digital transformation is the low-hanging fruit, which is often used as the foundation of economic recovery, including here in our country, the Philippines. And there are several challenges for our SMEs to adapt to this digital transformation, maybe due to financial problems, limited resources, and of course, gaps in human resources. And most probably, those outside Metro Manila experience it more. Thus, as part of the US-ABC, DTI, and PTTC's commitment to support the Philippine SMEs, we are providing a technical capacity building activity to help Philippines SMEs to leverage themselves, become more resilient, and transition smoothly into the digital economy environment.
So, Paolo, at the end of this webinar workshop, through the breakout session we will have later, we aim to identify what are the digital skills gaps so that we could overcome them in the future. So, also through our company showcase, which we will be able to offer a platform to support key stakeholders to connect and equip Philippine MSMEs with knowledge and skills to grow your business. And lastly, through our panel discussion and fireside chat, we will identify the government programs to upskill you, our MSMEs, on how to be globally competitive. So I think we can look at our chat box, Paolo, to see where our participants are coming from.
Yes, there are a lot of participants that are chatting in our chat box. We have participants from Bayan Edge, and we have also participants close here, Pasay City. How about the others?
We have from Las Piñas. We also have from Cavite, Makati, Bulacan. Where else, Paolo?
We also have from University of Makati. Earlier, we saw someone from General Trias. Also from Quezon City, Marikina City, and Nueva Vizcaya. Ayan. So we have a lot po. So we also have
Yeah.
from
Mostly from NCR. I can see from San Juan City, Makati City. Now we have someone from Zambales, Davao. We
Okay.
have participants from Davao, Nueva Ecija, Cebu, and Batangas.
Ayan.
From the Batangas State University in Malvar.
Yeah, we have a lot of participants coming from different parts of the Philippines, and we are very much excited that you are here. And now that we know that you are you are all excited for our agenda, we will start with the welcome from the USEC Basila Lantayona of the Regional Operations Group, Department of Trade and Industry, followed by the opening remarks from Senior Vice President and Regional Managing Director of the US-ASEAN Business Council, Ambassador Mike Michalak, and Mr. Joey Concepcion, Chairman of the ASEAN Business Advisory Council, or ASEAN-BAC Philippines.
And for our first panel session later, entitled Path to a Thriving Digital Economy for Philippine SMEs, will be with our distinguished guests who, for the last 5 years, dedicated their work towards bringing the MSMEs to a whole new level. From the government, we have Ms. Mary Jean T. Pacheco, Assistant Secretary of the Office of Secretary for Digital Philippines from the Philippine Department of Trade and Industry, Ms. Maria Lourdes Aquilizan, Director of the ICT Literacy and Competency Development Bureau from the Philippine Department of Information and Communications Technology, while from the private sector, we will be joined by Mr. Stephen Thomas Misa, Country Head, President, and Chairman for the Philippines Amazon Web Services.
And the next session will start with panel session 2 with the topic U.S. Private Sector Support to Close the Philippines SMEs Digital Skill Gaps. This will be presented by Mr. Paul Sears, Solutions Architect 3 from the Amazon Web Services. The last but the most important session is the breakout room session, the value of digital skills for Philippine SMEs. The audience will be grouped into 3 separate rooms, which you can choose by yourself. This will be the chance to listen out to our MSMEs about their insights and what they experience on the ground. We will discuss later on what group you belong to and the detailed instructions for this last but exciting session.
And we will also have a quick presentation of the ASEAN SME Academy with our Executive Director, Nelly Nita Deliera from the Philippine Trade Training Center as our closing event. So this is an exciting day, but before we start this event, we would also like to remind our participants a few housekeeping notes. The participants are encouraged to ask their questions through our Q&A box, which you can find in your panel below your screens. The questions will be answered during the open discussion session later on. Please kindly include your full name and company or institution name when you are asking your questions. We may ask your cooperation to not turn on your videos or your sounds during the workshop proper to make sure that the program runs smoothly and avoid any internet connection issues. And let's have the ball rolling. Let's now call on the Undersecretary for DTI, for the Undersecretary of Regional Operations Group of DTI Philippines, Yusek Blesila Lantayona, to welcome us with her warm message. Good morning, Yusek Bles.
Ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant morning to all of you. It is with great pleasure that I welcome you to this auspicious event. I commend the partnership among the Department of Trade and Industry, here represented by the Bureau of Small and Medium Enterprise Development, the US-ASEAN Business Council, and the Philippine Trade Training Center, Global MSME Academy, to partake in this SME Workshop Series, which aims to help ASEAN enterprises recover stronger from the pandemic and better adapt to the digital economy. The MSME sector drives the creation and distribution of goods and services and the generation of employment. However, in these past 2 years, we have witnessed how the pandemic disrupted everything. Nevertheless, the same pandemic made us realize that creativity, innovation, and digitalization have made MSMEs think out of the box and address the problems better. Why is competence in digital economy important to you as an entrepreneur? The statistics show that the economy of the Philippines is moving really fast towards the digital space, as evidenced by the increased adoption of e-commerce by many Filipinos. As of January 2022, there are 76 million internet users in the Philippines, or 68% of the total population. The majority of these users devote a portion of their time shopping online. In 2021 alone, 62.5% of the Filipinos have purchased a product or a service online. Entrepreneurs must have the skills to be able to take advantage of this development. Today, we are delighted to be part of the workshop addressing the digital skills gaps of MSMEs in the country. In this workshop, MSMEs will be equipped with the necessary knowledge and skills to grow their business, to become more competitive regionally and globally. Technology, digitalization, and online presence have been significant in the past months in ensuring the continuity of operations, not only in the private sector, but also in the government. We hope that all of you will maximize the learnings of this workshop as you adjust and move towards the post-COVID era. To our partners, thank you for making this event a reality. Through the ASEAN SME Academy, we look forward to exploring and developing more projects with you. To our participants, get your mind ready for this informative session. Thank you and stay safe.
Thank you, Yusek Lantayona, for your warm welcome remarks. And now we will proceed on to Ambassador Michael Michalak for his remarks. Please, sir, the screen is yours.
Good morning, Excellencies, distinguished panelists, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining the US-ASEAN Business Council's SME webinar on addressing digital skill gaps for Philippines SMEs. I would first like to recognize Undersecretary Blesila A. Lantayona, Undersecretary of Regional Operations Group in the Philippines Department of Trade and Industry, and Mr. Joy Concepcion, a friend of mine and the founder of Go Negocio, and also a member of the ASEAN Business Advisory Council of the Philippines, for providing remarks this morning. And of course, warm thanks and welcome to all of you joining us and participating in today's webinar. By now, it's quite apparent that the digital economy is a powerful catalyst of economic growth in all sectors. Digital solutions have mitigated the negative impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, particularly in the Philippines, where the digital sector is estimated to be worth US $7.5 billion and is expected to grow by 30% annually to reach US $28 billion by 2025. However, small businesses in the Philippines still face several challenges to achieving digital transformation. Financial insolvency
Thank you, thank you, Ambassador Michalak. And we will now have Mr. Joey Concepcion, the chairman of ASEAN Business Advisory Council Philippines, to deliver his remarks.
Good morning. I've been asked to say a few words on the SME Workshop Series, Rebuilding the ASEAN Economy, Addressing Digital Skill Gaps for the Philippine SMEs. I'd like to also greet Michael McCulloch of the US-ASEAN Business Council for his ongoing efforts to really help many of our small and medium enterprises in ASEAN rebuild, especially those who have been greatly affected in this pandemic. In the Philippines, as you know, on top of my role as an ASEAN Business Advisory Chair for the Philippines, I started Go Negosyo, which is basically helping micro, small, and medium enterprises be able to upskill themselves, no, and be able to succeed in their endeavors as entrepreneurs. The pandemic really created a lot of problems, not only for large corporations, but many of our MSMEs have been really severely affected because of our lockdowns in 2020 and 2021. But then things have moved forward. The economy is wide open. Mobility is at its highest point. Despite infections moving up, we continue to keep the economy open. Under President Marcos, he has made a statement in the State of the Nation address the other day that there will be no more lockdowns, and that is very important for especially our MSMEs. No? In the Philippines, our micro, small, and medium enterprises contribute 62% to job generation. And my role under the Private Sector Advisory Council, the lead for jobs, is to see it that in this administration, job generation will have to continue at a faster pace. And for that to happen, we really need our MSMEs to really scale up. So it is not adding more to the number that we have, which runs into the millions, and 99% of our MSMEs comprise the business sector. We don't want to increase that number. We want to scale them up to become not micro forever, but be able to move up to small and eventually medium-sized entrepreneurs and businesses. So we know that digitalization is key to that. Digitalization basically is helping us create a more inclusive economy, which is a struggle really in many countries, developing countries like the Philippines. While MSMEs comprise 99%, they fall short in terms of GDP contribution, but yet they employ 62% of the entire labor force. So we fully support the shift and be able to enable our micro and small entrepreneurs to understand on how they can play in the digital world and how much inclusivity there will be for them to be able to access not only mentors, but both money and market. So over the past, I'd say 10 years now, Go Negosyo has been pushing the 3 M's, no? Mentorship, money, and market. And through Amen, which we have been so kindly supported by Jaif, Amen is a project that the ASEAN Business Advisory Council has launched, no? In also supporting our SMEs in ASEAN. And for all of these programs to really work, we need good mentors and mentors that will teach our MSMEs to really level up, to be able to understand the digital platforms, guide them through in accessing money, because the second M that's very important is money. Yes, you may have a good mentor, but you need funding, and funding is important, especially with the microfinance institutions, which are the primary lenders to MSMEs. So this is an important area that we are putting great focus now, especially many of the MSMEs have struggled through this pandemic and they have to recapitalize their business. And of course, as we all know, that the Russian-Ukraine crisis has brought about rising prices in every commodity we can think of, which means doubling up the working capital of these MSMEs, no? Because with the current working capital and with the high rising prices, the working capital is insufficient. So this is another area that we are helping them. And of course, the third is market. Without the market, these people will not last as entrepreneurs. So how can they widen their market? And we all know that digitalization is the way forward. The success of GCash in the Philippines was brought about by the pandemic. In America, the success of digitalization is because every American had a credit card. But in the Philippines, very few people will qualify for credit cards. So the debit card in form of an e-wallet really paved the way. GCash and so many others are now sprouting, which is now enabling the consumer and the entrepreneurs to really be able to transact business through different platforms, whether it's Shopee, Lazada, and so many other platforms, delivery platforms, etc. This has really been a game changer for our MSMEs, so they were able to really survive through this pandemic. Of course, you have delivery platforms of food and consumer goods, etc. So we are really putting a lot of effort. Our partners are the Department of Trade and Industry, Department of Agriculture. So again, it's great to be in partnership with ASEAN Business Council, and the U.S. Embassy in the Philippines is supporting us all the way, especially in the digitalization, leveling up of our MSMEs. That is an area that the U.S. Embassy in the Philippines has decided to even support us in terms of funding. So again, I'd like to thank the U.S. ASEAN Business Council for its efforts in SME development in ASEAN. And in the Philippines, we will continue to be your partners. Again, thank you.
Again, thank you, Ambassador Michalak and Mr. Joey Concepcion, for your insightful remarks. And now we go on to our first panel session. We are going to talk about how the Philippine government and the private sector support in building the path towards a thriving digital economy for the Philippine SMEs. For this first panel, we will be joined by Assistant Secretary Mary Jean Pacheco of the Office of Secretary for Digital Philippines from the Philippines Department of Trade and Industry. We also have Director Maria Lourdes Aquilizan, Director 3 of the ICT Literacy and Competency Development Bureau, Philippines Department of Information and Communications Technology. And finally, we have Mr. Stephen Thomas Misa, Country Head, President, and Chairman for the Philippines Amazon Web Services.
And this will all be moderated by Attorney Margie Lim, Country Representative of the US-ABC Philippines Office. Please welcome our first set of panelists and our moderator for this session. Miss Margie, the screen is yours.
Thanks, Bernice and Paolo. Welcome, everyone, to the first session of this workshop, The Path to a Thriving Digital Economy for Philippine SMEs. I'm Margie Lim. I'm the country representative of US-ABC, and I'll be your moderator for this first panel session. In this session, we will discuss the state of digital economy in relation to our SMEs. We'll talk to government through DTI and DICT to discuss their successes and flagship projects in promoting digital transformation and creating upskilling our digital workforce. We'll also talk to the private sector to see their perspective on the potential for growth available for SMEs through the digital economy. As mentioned by our host, joining with us today are ASEC Jean Pacheco of the Department of Trade and Industry. ASEC Pacheco is Assistant Secretary for Digital Philippines, and her current portfolio in the Department of Trade and Industry includes managing the e-commerce team, supply chain and logistics management division, and DTI's business name registration system. She's also the Department Legislative Liaison Officer and chair of the DTI Bids and Awards Committee. ASEC Jean is a highly motivated, dedicated public servant and career executive service officer with significant contribution and experience in the public sector, management, specifically planning, monitoring, and evaluation, performance management, public administration, public policy formulation. Welcome, ASEC Jean. Also with us is Director Malu Akilizan, the Director of the ICT Literacy and Competency Development Bureau of the Department of Information and Communication Technology. She has the expertise in ICT Training Center through management capacity building, competency standards development, and competency certification. So we have a lot to learn from both of them. And to complement this, for the private sector, we have Mr. Stephen Tep Thomas Misa, Country Head and President Chairman of Philippines Amazon Web Services. Welcome to all three of you. So before we start and before we begin our first session, I would like to remind the audience of the following. Kindly keep yourselves on mute when you're not speaking. And if you have questions, please share the questions in the chat box below. Later on, I'll read those questions for our speakers to answer. My request for you is to please include who you're addressing that question to. And so we can proceed. So for our panelists, I'd like to remind you to keep your initial presentations to please 5 minutes. And I apologize in advance if I have to cut you off after 5 minutes. Rest assured, you will have time and opportunity to speak more about your projects during the question and answer portion. So I hope everybody's ready. Let's now start with ASEC Jean Pacheco. ASEC Jean, good morning.
Hi, Margie. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes. Thank you very much. And I know I only have 5 minutes, so let's get on with it right away. And I must apologize because I have so many things to say, so many things to share, and with just 5 minutes, I might be speaking with speed. So I apologize for that in the beginning. This is not my slide. Can I get the DTI slide, please? Anyway, when we prepared the slide, we really took into account the subject, which is the theme for this conference, this workshop, which is addressing digital skills gap for Philippine SMEs. I was thinking maybe my presentation would be better off in the third session, but nonetheless, I think what I will share today is something that will be useful. So basically, what we want is to inform everybody that we have a Philippine e-commerce roadmap, and my 5-minute outline will actually focus on 3 important matters that I'd like to share. One is about the roadmap. Number 2 is about the job outlook survey that we have conducted, and the next one would be the DM2, the self-assessment toolkit for small, micro, medium enterprises. Next slide, please. The e-commerce roadmap is actually evidence-based, And what we have done is to do a survey, with the micro, small, medium enterprises. Our tagline is basta e-commerce madali. Aside from it being easy and convenient, it's about market access, digitalization, logistics integration. But I won't talk about that because I expect that to be raised in the panel today. But let me go to the next one, please. We did a survey, and what we believe in the DTI is that we should not really apply a one-size-fits-all formula in terms of assisting SMEs. So we decided to really study what are the levels of digitalization of SMEs. There was an ASEAN study, and we were inspired by that. So when we did our study for Philippine SMEs, you would realize that, while there is basic, intermediate, and advanced in ASEAN, in the Philippines, we have what we call a level 0. This means that you have SMEs who have mobile phones, but they don't use it for businesses. So that is what 23% does not use. 23% of those interviewed does not use digital tools for business, and this is what we want to help them with. Teach them how to do an email, teach them for digital payments. And we do have level 1, level 2, level 3. So no one size fits all formula. Next slide, please. So we know where they are and we know who they are. We know why. Now let me share you this important aspect in the finding in the survey. You see, when we said, with e-commerce, there must be digital payments, no? Would you know that, according to the SMEs that we have interviewed, 54% said they're not using mobile wallets. Why? Because they're used to old habits. So you see, that is something that we need to sort of do an advocacy for. 43%, that's almost half of it, says there's no need. So if this is the digital economy, we really need to inform and maybe convince, or maybe make them aware on the importance of digital transformation for each of the SMEs. So some doesn't know how to access. So these are the things that we, the Department of Trade and Industry, are aware and are mindful of, and this is what we need to address. Next slide, please. So this is the second. I'd like to plug this because this is an opportunity for everyone to know. We came out with what we call a DM2 project. This is a measurement of a digital maturity and a digital mindset. This is a self-assessment toolkit for SMEs. We have a QR code here. I hope all of the listeners here, the 244, how many SMEs are here? We hope that you can do, put your mobile phone and do this, scan your QR code, and this will lead you to a very, very 3-minute. It's a very easy test. No, it's an app. It's 3 minutes. Next slide, please. We'll go on. Okay. When you do when you answer all of the questions, they'll see the digital maturity, or how much technology did you use, and your digital mindset. Are you ready for your digital transformation? Then you'll get your scorecard. Next slide, please. You'll get your, this is, we won't go through it due to lack of time. Go. This is what you'll see, and this is what you'll have. No, if, for example, you do that and you'll come up with a profile. So you are a curious observer. Next slide, please. Next slide. So you will get something like this. Ano nangyari? How come we're here? Can you go back? Yeah. You'll get something like this. So now we have a prescription of all of the resources. DTI has done a lot of learning sessions with private sector. We have already a robust system, but not complete, but we have it here. So if you are a driven collaborator, as the sample says, you just press on the recommended training topics and you go there right away. We'll just do. Can you go ahead? So you press whatever it is and say, how do you promote your business locally? So they'll bring you to this particular site. So this is a sample of the thing that we do. We always say it's not one size fits all. So try it. That is something that we are encouraging all our SMEs to adapt. Next slide, please. So that's it. So, and then finally, as I said, I have so many things to say. I wish I had an hour. Anyway, we have a job outlook survey. Before I get the punch. Job outlook survey, go ahead. I just wanted to tell everybody that the DTI again did a job outlook survey for e-commerce, right? For e-commerce. And this is really a qualitative study and a quantitative study where we interviewed e-commerce stakeholders, the marketplace platforms, the telcos, the payment gateways, the training institutions, and then the headhunters, all of that. And then we did a quantitative survey. Go ahead. So we did that, and there are 5 points. I won't go into that 5 points because that will take me an hour. Okay. So let me just figure out some one of the items here. You have digital tools. It says in the Google study that many SMEs now are more likely to increase the usage of digital tools. 86% of them said that they will go with digital marketing, and 80% are operation software. And then not only that, 93% said they are most likely to adopt or increase the usage of digital payments. All of these things are important matters that the government, particularly the DTI, are mindful of. And this is where we're going next. So we are now, as I said, the Department of Trade and Industry, particularly the e-commerce office, would like to be evidence-based. And so this is what the study came about. The study identified the talent needs. There's a difference between the needs of SMEs and the needs of the large companies. As you can see, this is an e-commerce ecosystem. We have a large body of online merchants, which could be SMEs that sell online. And what do they need? They need content creation. They need technical skills. So those were all identified in the study. Again, I won't go into the details, but the study is just so robust, and we'd like to share them. I hope we get those questions right. But in the case of large companies, they are more likely to use data analytics, so business intelligence, business strategy. Go! I think my 5 minutes is up. I won't go into the details of this. As I said, there are many items to share. We particularly defined all of the digital roles. The headhunters said this is what we need. Go ahead. We needed, and then we did all of that. We identified digital marketing, the tasks, the skills. We outlined even the salary, the foundational courses. All of this is what the DTI is doing. And we are now collaborating with agencies of government, such as the TESDA, the CHED, and all of the training institutions, so that we would be able to provide this important manpower and skills required for the private sector in order for the e-commerce to thrive. So as I said, I have so much to share, but I'm running of breath and for the 5 minutes. So basta po e-commerce, madali. Thank you.
Wow, I'm amazed. Thank you, Asik Jean. That was an amazing presentation. It's always important that we know before we make any policies that it's evidence-based and data-driven. And I can see just from the fast-paced way you were talking about it, there's a lot of things that we can learn and we already know. And I also like the fact that there's levels of digitalization and particularly how to address each level. So I guess my first question, and I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of questions about what these interagency efforts are, and also probably what are the specific results of the surveys. I wanted to ask about the issue on digital hesitancy from the level 0 survey participants. So what's the reason for their hesitancy? Is it more because of the infrastructure? Is it more because of a security issue? Is it just really a hesitation on technology because it's something they didn't learn about? What did the survey say about that?
Yeah. So Marge, as I mentioned earlier on, when we did the survey of the SMEs, as I said, no, it's really a culture thing, right? It's a culture thing. It's not even lack of technology. It's not that. It's really more of I don't have to, right? We all think that people don't get into e-commerce or digital transformation because they're lack of trust. No, it's really I don't know how to do it. I don't need to. So that particular hesitation is a cultural aspect. This is the reason why I think e-commerce is really built for the young. Because if they're young, there's no such thing. But if maybe we have a little bit of like myself, like digital immigrants, that we're not so used to it, and that's something that we have to deal with. We have to inform the micro, small, medium enterprises, the digital immigrants who own the business, that there is really a benefit, if you transform your business and if you employ technology into the business. So as it's cultural, so there is an aspect of information, awareness, and basic awareness, no, on digital on the digitalization.
I'm curious as a Jean, I'm nag-follow up pa ako. Ako nga yung may rule na walang follow up muna. I'm curious as a Jean, how do you encourage them, because it is the culture, is DTI addressing that? How are they encouraging them to try on using digital technology for their business?
Thank you so much for that. No, the best formula that we have is to work with the private sector, because the government only has, you know, very limited resources. No, so this is the reason why we always collaborate with the private sector. When we did the e-commerce roadmap, you can see that basically the Department of Trade and the government agencies are really just facilitators, but the one who really provides the resources in terms of informing people. How do you onboard? It's not difficult. It's just easy. So we have the likes of the marketplace platforms. Every time we call, they're there. Shopee, Lazada, Zalora. When we look at on the payment gateways, you have Maya, GCash, the telcos, PLDT, and Facebook. In fact, you know, we are now going into a second. We're scaling it up, and we are in fact very excited. Not, we're cooking up something again with the private sector. I know that maybe I can already tell them it's a US-ASEAN event after all. So we're working with Google, Microsoft, Meta, Facebook, of course, Globe is also there. Maya, we're working with them in terms of upskilling. They have the resources. You know, you everything that I sort of showed earlier on very, very quickly, the skills and competencies required. Google has that. Microsoft has those. And they're all for free, except if you do your certification. So what we in the Department of Trade and Industries, particularly the e-commerce, is doing right now is talking to them, and you'll see very soon. We do a launch, but you know, we are working with them now so that more and more SMEs will be given an opportunity to upskill, no, using these free resources. But for those who really want to make it their job, then you probably need a certification. But if not, you are an SME, you want to learn digital marketing, you get yourself online with blueprint of Meta. You take care of it, you can see and you can learn. So it's very, very, we're so excited, no? We're so excited with everything that we're doing, because these are the things that we can replicate, you know, because government itself with very limited resources will only do so much. But if we get the private sector with us, which is, by the way, what the Secretary of Trade, Sec Pascual, has been saying, that the value of the private sector is there. So there.
Yes.
Sorry for the long response.
No problem. And I'm sure later on, Tep will also from Amazon will also be able to tell us how they're contributing to that. But before I ask too many more questions, no, let's move over to the ICT, another very important player in supporting the SMEs. Director Aquiliza, Director Malu, it's your time to shine.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Margie, and a pleasant and exciting morning to everyone. Of course, good morning to ASEC Jean Pacheco and Mr. Tep Misa, my co-panelists, and of course to all our hardworking and very enterprising MSMEs. Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat, and on behalf of the ICT, we'd like to thank the organizers for this opportunity to share with you our different capacity building initiatives also in trying to empower the MSMEs through ICTs. Okay, so let me start with my first slide. Next slide, please. All right, so we have the Digital PH program, or simply we call it DJPH, and it is intended to create meaningful ICT-enabled jobs in almost all disadvantaged areas in the country. So this involves training and development of talents in the countryside to enable them to provide online freelancing services while working from home or in their community. This training also serves as an avenue to promote the use of various ICTs by MSMEs. By the way, just like ASEC Jean, I will be presenting as fast as I can so that I can meet also the 5-minute time frame. Okay, so alongside empowering local talents with competencies needed in the digital era, the DJPH also serves as an avenue for collaboration, particularly in providing various opportunities to all our MSMEs. So we have in this program several courses for them, and these can be freely and easily utilized in their business paradigm of the MSMEs. So flashed on the screen are the courses that we are offering through the DJPH program. So MSMEs through these courses will learn how to improve their marketing performance through social media marketing, advertising, search engine marketing and advertising, as well as search engine optimization. And as mentioned earlier by ASEC Jean, of course, most importantly, e-commerce. So an established set of competencies in this field can also help businesses grow and revitalize their strategies. Okay? Through the creation of websites, blogs, vlogs, as well as other digital content, such as endorsements or testimonials, raising the leverage of awareness of the consumer considering in making purchases in social media ecosystem. So, merong nga sabi kanina, we have the ano ba to, mga Shopee, mga ganon, no? So, parang ganon din, no? Our SMEs can make use of the trainings that we can provide in developing their businesses so that they can be digitally present as well. Okay, so next slide, please. All right, so the DICT, aside from the DJPH courses that I mentioned earlier, in partnership with MOOCs Philippines and Coursera, also offers self-paced online courses as part of the DJPH program and one of our major projects, enhancing ICT upskilling ecosystem through MOOCs. So initially for this program, we have 300 slots for DJPH alumni, as well as interested learners. So our MSMEs can join our online courses as well. So they will be able to develop their competencies in digital marketing, project management, sales operation, and social media marketing, such that they will be able to establish their brands and create their own small businesses online in the near future. So this MOOCs is open to the public, including, of course, MSMEs. So, and in as much as these courses are conducted asynchronously, they will be manageable and accessible to all the participants at their own pace, at their own time. So next slide, please. All right. So in as much as MSMEs, okay, are seen to be highly vulnerable to cyber threats, the ICT started the initiative towards cyberspace awareness, including cybersecurity and data privacy. So we made a move to protect MSMEs, among others, in the cyber world, and through our other bureau, the Cybersecurity Bureau. So the Cybersecurity Bureau conducts seminars for MSMEs on data privacy, cyber safety, and a lot more. So this initiative is aimed at raising platform awareness and devising strategies to cope with cyber threats such as, of course, but not limited to malware attack, man-in-the-middle attack, password attack, and phishing. As a matter of fact, our Cybersecurity Bureau has been invited for several times already by the Go Negosyo, and they were able to conduct trainings, especially on this cybersecurity or cyber safety awareness program. Now, before I conclude, please allow me to make mention another initiative geared specifically to women entrepreneurs. Please accept my apologies that I missed to include this slide. Okay, So the DICT is an academy partner of the United Nations Asia Pacific Center for ICT for Development in the Philippines. And one of the courses developed by the UN APC ICT and for local implementation here in the Philippines is what they call the Wi-Fi. Okay, not the Wi-Fi that we know of, but Wi-Fi meaning Women ICT Frontier Initiative. So Wi-Fi aims to strengthen the capacity and current and potential women entrepreneurs in utilizing ICT and thereby enhancing the capability of government leaders and policymakers in cultivating an enabling environment for them. So this course has two tracks. First is the Women Entrepreneurs track, which covers planning a business using ICT and managing a business using ICT. And the other track is for our policymakers so that they could develop an enabling environment for women entrepreneurs. So Wi-Fi, this course is currently being conducted in at least 10 countries and localized in 7 languages. So next slide, please. So to end my presentation, indeed, the DJPH program for MSMEs can truly realize their potential as key drivers of inclusive growth and development. For we at the ICT firmly believe that ICT is an enabler and a game changer for MSMEs. So once again, good morning and thank you for this opportunity to share with you our initiatives and magandang umaga sa lahat. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Director
Margie,
Malu.
I hope I made the 5 minutes.
Yes, you did, and a lot of very interesting programs coming from the ICT, especially because in the SONA last Monday, the emphasis of the government was the digital transformation, and I recall the word was digital workforce, right? So
Right.
it's really important to have these certifications and these opportunities for all our SMEs to learn more. My question is, for a lot of them, I understand MOOCs and the Coursera courses, those are online, but how about all these other programs? Do they have to go to a certain area, or can they do this in their homes? For example, the Wi-Fi or the digital marketing and e-commerce, are those all online as well?
We have both implementations, so it can be online and it can be face-to-face, depending on the situation in the area. If, for example, because you see, we conduct these trainings not only here in Metro Manila. We have, if I'm not mistaken, I think we have 15 or 16 regional offices, so nationwide. So they can also access the online trainings there, as well as, if need be, we can do face-to-face training for the MSMEs.
And these are free for the SMEs.
Yes, definitely free for the MSMEs.
I'm sure people will be lining up for the 300 slots for the for the MOOCs and the Coursera courses. No, Director Malu, how about when it comes to the span of this? Is it something they can do in a day, or are these courses something that they have to really take the time for? Because a lot of these businesses, that's all they do the whole day, so they might not have time to really learn all these things. So what's the format of most of these programs?
Okay, so thank you for that clarification, Marge. First of all, these courses, as I said earlier, can be face-to-face or online. So they have a choice which one to join. And if it's a face-to-face thing, usually it will take around 12 days to finish. But for an online thing, it will be ×2, because instead of an 8-hour session, we'll just be conducting 4-hour sessions. And what's good about online is it's self-paced. So like, for example, in the Coursera or the MOOCs, these are self-paced. So they can do it, they can access it at their free time, during their free time, when perhaps, how do I say this? Habang naghihintay ng ng customer or something like that, they're doing, they're relaxing. I think it can be used as well. And another thing is, for the cybersecurity awareness that I mentioned earlier, it's just good for around 2 to 3 hours. So it's very short. So I think this is something that I advise MSMEs to look into, the cyber safety seminars that we have, because definitely MSMEs are very vulnerable in this digitally, no, in the digital environment.
Thank you, Director Malu. I'm sure that a lot of our members and even us will be approaching you about how we can better help as a private sector in scaling up these programs coming from the ICT.
Thank you.
But before I others will ask questions from you, I'd like to proceed with the perspective of private sector through our partners in this event, Amazon. I'd like to call on Amazon Steph Misa to talk about AWS and the private sector's part in supporting SMEs.
Thank you so much, Margie. Good morning, everyone. My name is Tep Misa, and I've been with Amazon Web Services for 5 years now, and it's a privilege to be here. I'd like to welcome our SMSEs here attending our session. And it's also a privilege to be with Asek Jean and Director Malu. You know, we should have given more time to Asek Jean and Director Malu. Really interesting stuff that you've done. This is the first time I'm seeing your presentation and what you're doing for the MSMEs. Truly amazing, truly amazing. And we'd like to work more closely with you on how we can help our heroes of the Philippine economy, which is really the MSMEs, right? Now, if there is one headline that I would like to share with all of you today, it's we are in the midst of a tectonic shift to the cloud. Tectonic shift, not only across the world, but also here in the Philippines. You see, we have millions of active customers in AWS daily, and we have been seeing an increased adoption of cloud usage, which has been accelerated actually by the pandemic. Now, a lot of you may be familiar with Amazon or Amazon.com, right? That's the company, that's our parent company. That's the company that actually invented e-commerce. It's the company that started online selling back in 1996 when it first started. It was started in a garage by Jeff Bezos, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with. And after years of running a massive scale IT infrastructure to run e-commerce, logistics, and all of the data and analytics required to be successful in e-commerce, right? We actually pioneered and invented cloud computing. Yes, it's actually Amazon who invented cloud computing, and a lot of you, a lot of MSMEs may be using the cloud of AWS without you actually knowing it. If you're familiar with, for example, Netflix, right, which a lot of us watch over the pandemic, right, it's actually running on AWS. If you're also familiar with Airbnb, did you know that Airbnb started as a micro business back in the United States? And it grew, and it's because it was powered by AWS, Amazon Web Services. They run their IT infrastructure not on their own premise servers, but on the cloud in AWS. And there's so many customers that are running in AWS. You see the likes of Grab is also running on AWS, and they started as a small business, right? And here in the Philippines, while companies like Shakey's and Jollibee and McDonald's and the Maxis Group and KFC and National Bookstore and GCash and Paymaya and Union Bank are running on AWS. And you might say these are large companies, Marge, right? We also have lots of micro and small businesses that are already running on AWS. You see the likes of Zimex Delivery Express. It started as a small logistics firm handling deliveries, and now they are actually partners with Lazada. They built an interface straight to the Lazada system. So now they're doing real-time logistics and logistics for many small businesses actually for faster delivery. They became very, very big already during the pandemic, and it was powered because of the help of the technologies of AWS. You see the likes of Zagana. Are you familiar with Zagana.com? They deliver fresh meat and vegetables, right? A very small company. And then they moved to an e-commerce platform. They moved to actually to Shopify, which is running on AWS. It was made by one of our partners called Aper. And Zagana.com is flourishing. Sumagana ang kanilang negosyo because of e-commerce. You have brands like Beauty Manila and Beauty Bar, and a remittance company called Ventaja or Ventaja. When you spell it, it's Ventaja. It's pronounced as Ventaja. They're actually started as a small remittance company focused on OFWs. What they do is they get orders from OFWs, right? They get the payments and they actually do the buying. For example, the family needs furniture or books or television sets or Christmas gifts, right? They will buy it and deliver it straight to the families of the OFWs, right? Aside from remittances and tuition fees and all. If you're a travel agency, there's Pinoy Travel, right? That's also being powered by the cloud, by AWS. And I can cite many more examples of Filipino SMEs moving to the cloud. And that's why I'm sharing, you know, there's a tectonic shift to move to cloud services. Now, as a final point, right? We have so many partners in the world of cloud computing in AWS. Yeah, you don't need to build your e-commerce platforms from scratch, right? For example, if you want access to the United States market or European markets, right, where Amazon.com is present, why don't you ship your products, Filipino products, for example, through these logistics firms, ship it to the United States, and voila, you have access to a country that's very affluent with 300 million, right, population, right? Put your products on Amazon.com, or as mentioned a while ago, put your products in other e-commerce platforms. Now, if you want to have your own e-commerce platforms, are you familiar with EasyBuilder.pro? They can allow you to easily create a website that will showcase your products and services, right? For a few hundred pesos per month. Few hundred pesos lang per month. You don't need to buy your IT equipment, your servers, your computers. Just subscribe to a partner of ours, EasyBuilder Pro, or iMongo also has an e-commerce platform. You have the likes of eScience and iMongo, for example. They have a web-based point of sale system. You don't need the cash registers anymore. If you have a tablet or a mobile phone, they can give you a point of sale system. You can even email the receipts or print receipts if you like, right? So I can go on and on. This ecosystem has really grown precisely to help our MSMEs so that they can focus on their business more instead of spending a lot of time on the IT side of things, the data center side of things. There are so much tools coming from AWS, and that's why a lot of partners build their platforms on AWS, because it's so easy and it's secure, it's reliable. We keep your data private, right? We ensure data privacy, and best of all, it's lowest cost of any cloud out there in the market. So back to you first, Margie.
Wow, thank you, Tab. That's so many success stories, best practices coming from all these examples that you mentioned. And you know, there's a lot of opportunities with technology, right? It's not just e-commerce, it's all the other areas that are means for our SMEs to grow and scale up, which is what I think a lot of them are looking for. I think for a lot of them though, it's quite daunting. You know, just what is the first step that you have to take, and what are the things that you have to keep in mind, like basic business decisions when it comes to investing, or maybe investing like both money and time in utilizing these services.
Thank you so much for that question. You know, I don't want to preempt the very exciting presentation of my colleague Paul Sears, who will be presenting after this. And what Paul Sears from AWS will be sharing later on is how to convert, how to transform your SMB company to a digital SMB. So
Fantastic.
journey from being a micro or small business to a digital micro and small business, right? So it's gonna be an exciting session. So I'd like our audience to stay tuned for that. It will tell you step by step the things that you need to think about, where to start, right? And as you go more advanced, what you need to do, right? And the things that we will share later on are the things that we have done for the biggest companies in the world. We are transplanting this know-how to our MSMEs present here today.
Thank you, Tep. Unahan kita. But I'm looking forward to listening to what Paul has to say about that. With respect, I'm getting some questions here. If anybody else would like to ask questions, please feel free to mention them in the chat box. There's a lot of questions on the online classes that are being provided by the ICT. So this question is addressed to Director Malu. Director Malu, a bit of the struggle that they're having is a lot of the online classes that are available for SMEs are not in our dialects. They're all in English. So it's hard for some of them to understand. Is it possible for our lessons and all of these classes to be in Filipino or in different dialects? Is there efforts to do that so it's more accessible?
Okay, thanks for that question, guys. So yes, our classes are not just in English. Our trainers, I said earlier, we have offices, regional offices who conduct said trainings. So we have local trainers, so they can speak the dialect. So there, they don't have to know English. Of course, Filipinos are known to be fluent in English as well, though. No, but yeah, we can localize not only the topics, but localize even the delivery, the dialect. We can make use of that. So we have a lot of trainers in our regional offices. So I think that wouldn't be a problem. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Director Malu. On a question that's being asked here from DTI and DICT, how are your agencies working together in addressing these concerns of our SMEs? Interagency cooperation was highlighted by the president during his SONA, and it's something that for a lot of our SMEs, they're referred back and forth to certain to different agencies. So how are you working together? Maybe we can start with ASEC Jean.
So just now in chat, I am now chatting with Director Mary Rose and because Director Malu has is presenting, but we're working right now even as we speak. We're trying to update each other on the programs that we have. So that's the first step. But so far, for example, in the case of DTI, a lot of our interventions, really, because we have limited budget, we are really relying on agencies, for example, like the TESDA. No, so that's a big aspect of the things that we do in terms of interagency coordination. There's also a lot of coordination between DICT and DTI that are ongoing right now. We're talking about the Central Business Portal, not just in skills, no, but in other areas of digitalization. So we're looking at, as we know, is the ease of doing business. We'd like to make sure that when you apply for a business permit, it's very easy. So there, I mean, under RA 11032 or the Ease of Doing Business Act, it is the role of the DICT to develop that platform together with DTI and ARTA. So that's one of the things that we're working on very closely. Of course, at this point in time, given the transition, we need to sort of recalibrate and revisit the plans on how to really escalate all of this all of these projects. So we have a lot between there's more that's in store. In fact, you know, I'm already preempting an announcement, but but we're working on DTI, DICT. We're working with the UP Law Center. We have a plan to put our plans together, especially in the legislative agenda, because there's really the digital transformation. It's all about policy as well. So there are many areas that we are working on with the DICT, DTI, and other agencies of government relative to digital transformation or the digitalization of government.
Sorry. Thank you, Asek Pacheco, for that. I'm mindful that you have to leave soon, so I'll ask a little bit more questions if you don't mind to our other panelists. To Asek Pacheco, she's leaving. We have questions here about the Go Local stores that DTI has. So those are usually brick and mortar, and it appears now that it's come on to become an e-commerce space as well. I'd like you to, if possible, discuss that a little bit and what opportunities our SMEs have online through Go Local.
Okay, so let me a little bit clarify on the statement that you just mentioned. So yes, Go Local started as a brick and mortar, but because of the pandemic, the DTI ventured into Go Local, going online, and this is where the tack that we took is really more is the same as when we did the brick and mortar, talking to the malls, diba? For us to be selling it. This time we were able to actually collaborate with the platforms, no? So you see some of the Go Local in the marketplace platforms. We started with Shopee, for example, and then Shopee, and then Lazada. So that one, in other words, we kind of encouraged Go Local to be part of the marketplace platforms. Now it's really about we're looking at, and I think the secretary has announced this about plans, but I'd like to put a little bit of under there muna until everything is finalized, right? But we've actually heard the secretary say that we are promoting again an e-commerce platform, so that the barriers to entry, so to speak, will be much easier. But that's something that is work in progress. I don't want to say anything yet, because we need to put a little bit of some finality and some organization in to give more details. But for now, those are the plans. But we continue, and this is what we always say in the DTI, that what we are here for, we are agnostic, right? For now, I mean, what we have done so far for the past 2 years is for DTI to provide options to the micro, small, medium enterprises. As I always say, you can either go to Lazada, Shopee, Shopeenas, if that's one of the channels. But we also endorse Google. Google has a Google business profile. You get a shop store. You don't need to pay, and when you go to Google, remember it's Google, so you can be located through search, and you can be located through maps. You can also go. Many of merchants go to with the least. I would like to say the least barrier, which is Facebook, Meta. A lot of them, you just go to the marketplace platforms. So, and then of course, we have friends from Union Bank, Global Linker. These are all for free. And then there's multi-store, right? All of these are all made available to the SMEs every time we speak. Now we give them the choice. In the beginning, we're always saying there's multi-channel. Now, it's multi-channel concept is easy. I mean, it's easier to explain. But really, what we are working on in DTI is to start already educating or giving awareness on the concept of omni-channel, because that's where the future lies, omni-channel. And when I hear like Sir Tep, I hope offline we can do a little bit of some networking when you have some time. Then we can certainly use as well. I mean, we can collaborate on all of these. So there, as I said, here we are collecting all of the information, and then once you have them, we kind of like promote, so it becomes a choice of the SME, so that they know what's out there.
Thank you, Asik Jean, and I'm sure we will definitely connect Sir Tep with you. This will be exciting things between Amazon and DTI. Asik Jean, I know that you have to leave in a few minutes. Final words, please, about to our SMEs and on DTI's efforts to support them.
Yes. So thank you very much, of course, to US-ASEAN Business Council, PTTC, and the organizers. So to all the micro, small, medium enterprises out there, I hope that you can try to, how do I say it, use that DM2 self-assessment toolkit that we have. It's really quite simple, but we're in the testing stage, or we'd like, but that it's already something useful. It allows you to sort of give you some ideas on how you'd like to proceed with your digital transformation journey. So that's my first call. The second call is I'd like to, I guess, I don't know if providing an assurance is the word for it, but I'd like maybe that SMEs out there, if you need anything relative to your business, whether you'd like to pivot from offline to online, whether you'd like to grow your business, whether you'd like to start from zero, not knowing anything, to I know, coming out with how to learn how to open an email, please do reach out to the DTI. We have negosyo centers everywhere. You go to any DTI office, regional, provincial, and if you are here in, even, we're all on email, please email us at ecommerce@dti.gov.ph. So we are also near. We also have a Facebook page. I'd also like to plug that. Just look for e-commerce DTI, and we do answer queries, questions, and we hope that you'll also like our page, so that you'll be part of the ecosystem as well. So there, thank you again, and there's much more to do, but I really hope that we can work more, increase the ecosystem. Amazon would love to work with you. We've worked with you, Darren, and some aspects of Amazon, but working with Sir Tep would also be good after hearing him speak.
Absolutely. Forward to that.
So,
Thank you. Have a good day, Asik Jean. We'll
Thank
get
you.
in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you. Another question coming here for Director Malu. Director Malu, and actually maybe Tap could also give his insights on this. The issue on digital payments, digital payment literacy. What are things that are meant for TEP? The question would be, what should they keep in mind? What are things they should keep in mind when they're trying to build a system wherein digital payments are already involved in their business? And for the ICT, are there any efforts on digital payments literacy for our SMEs? Maybe TEP can go first.
Okay, thanks a lot, Margie. Now, when it comes to digital payments, we if there is one positive outcome coming from the pandemic, is that the Filipino people have learned how to use digital wallets and all, right? While we know that it's very hard still with so many requirements, although it's improving, to get bank accounts here in the Philippines, the digital wallets like GCash and Maya, PayMaya is now called just Maya, right? Because they've become a bank as well. Have become so popular because it's so easy. One ID, do a KYC, and then you can already do your payments, right? And we work heavily with GCash and Maya. Their infrastructure, their technologies are running heavily on AWS. We are powering them with billions of transactions every single day. Billions and billions of transactions every single day. And then we're also working with so many other companies, whether you're in retail, trading, logistics, and all, so that all of these payments are interconnected, right? Through secure gateways and APIs. So we've educated a lot of companies in the Philippines for the last several years, even prior to the pandemic, how to attach themselves securely through APIs and gateways, so that transactions become cashless. It becomes more efficient. Of course, with guidance working hand in hand with the Bangko Sentral and the Department of Finance as well, right? The second thing that we're helping the Philippines in general when it comes to digital payments is security and data privacy. As you know, AWS uses military grade encryption, right? Very, very difficult for anyone to crack infrastructure, applications, transactions running on AWS. And that's why a lot of companies like GCash and Paymaya and Union Bank was mentioned a while ago, and BDO, and even the rural banks. There's so many rural banks that have moved to online banking and are running on AWS as well. It's because of the security, the strength of our security, and the way we protect data privacy, right? In AWS. Over to you, Director Malu.
Thank you so much, Deb, for, I think, answering almost all of the questions. Replying to the question already, and including how we do our training as well. So in our courses, this topic is included already on digital payment in almost all of the topics or sessions, no? And this includes also topics on how not to be scammed, okay? And specifically topics on, like Tep mentioned earlier, like how to set up digital wallets, and what else? How to set up digital wallets and how to get paid online. So those topics are already included in almost all of our sessions. And of course, it would be good that if they could also look into the cyber safety seminar that we offer, because that would also be addressed. Thank you.
Yeah, Director Lou, you mentioned education, right? Trainings on security and cyber safety and all. That is very, very important. In our case, we've been educating a lot of financial institutions, the fintechs from Discartech to the cooperatives doing loans in provinces, right? Doing microloans, and also even the big banks, right? And the mid-sized banks on the well-architected frameworks on security and cyber safety and all. It's very important. We offer this free of charge, and maybe one of these days we can run this program through the ASEAN SME Academy, right? We give this free of charge, right? Because it's of paramount importance in AWS. It's job zero, security always, especially when it comes to digital payments.
Thank you.
Perhaps,
thank you. Oh, go ahead.
If I may, Ms. Marge, perhaps Tep, we could also coordinate with you so that during our sessions with our MSMEs, we could invite you as well to share with our MSMEs regarding the top. Yes.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you.
I love this government-private sector cooperation collaboration that's happening. Here's a question coming from our audience. They say, are there any programs from AWS that supports MSMEs in particular towards transitioning to cloud services with minimal cost?
Yes. So, first and foremost, as I already mentioned, right, we have the ASEAN SME Academy 2.0 with the Department of Trade and Industry and the US-ASEAN Business Council. We support that along with the USAID. We launched this only in April 2022. So to all our SME founders here and entrepreneurs here, please look at the website and look at the training schedules. It's absolutely free. Second, we also have like sessions with the DICT. The last one that we just did was last June 23, right? With the DICT Tech Trends, Fundamentals of Cloud Computing, Storage, and Security. We did a webinar back in June 23, and we had 5,328 attendees. Wow, that is like awesome. The magnet of DICT is enormous, right? So really happy to do that. We will have like DTI and DOST 4.0 workshops for other industries like, semiconductors, electronics companies, like a little bit bigger, right? And then we're looking at more collaboration with DTI and the DICT to do more training sessions and webinars. Now, aside from that, here in AWS, we also run free clinics, free trainings for entrepreneurs, right? Our offices here at the BGC, we have the capacity, we have a training facility. We have the capacity to receive about 250 people at any given time. And we run these workshops, especially for our SMEs. We love SMEs, right? Amazon and AWS became one of the biggest companies in the world because of our customer obsession for the small business, right? And that's why our CEO always tells us, we will never, ever forsake the small and the micro business. We will forever serve them and love them and come up with solutions for them. That's what made us successful in our company, and we continue the trust to make it easy for them to adopt our solutions. We even have free tiers, right? If you're a startup and you've developed your applications, your solutions on AWS, we even allow you to use AWS Cloud for free for a certain period, right? So that's how much we love the small businesses, the startups in AWS. And a lot of Filipino companies have taken advantage of this already. And we want more. We want more.
Absolutely, we want more, and I hope if there's anything that this session has taught a lot of our SMEs is that there's so much support out there. There's so many resources available for you. So please take advantage of them. So we're closing in on their last 5 minutes. So I'd like to request for closing remarks from both of you. Let's start with Director Malu. Director Malu, a message to our SMEs, please.
Thank you so much, Marge. So once again, thank you so much for this opportunity, for inviting us to join this panel discussion. And to all our MSMEs, just go for it. Don't be afraid, no? Don't be afraid of ICT. Okay, ICT is there to help you. Okay, so not to make things difficult for you, but to make things easier for you. And for us to really help you out through capacity building, please visit our website, okay, the DICT website, as well as our DJPH website, where we have the schedule of trainings, both online and face-to-face. And also, if you are in the regions, please visit also our regional office website. If you cannot visit the regional office, please visit their websites, because they also have a schedule of trainings for MSMEs. And please note also that if you need assistance like internet, you need a venue where you could access our online trainings. You can also make use of our Tech for Ed centers. Okay, so we have this nationwide as well. And yeah, or even the negosyo centers, you're also working with the negosyo centers. So you can also access our trainings there. In fact, we are always coordinating with these negosyo centers in the provinces, in the regions, so that we could reach out to more MSMEs in the provinces. So once again, maraming salamat po, and guys, good luck sa inyong business. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Malu. Tep, onwards to you.
Okay, to our dear entrepreneurs here attending this session, I just want you to know that the cloud computing, AWS cloud specifically, is the great equalizer for our SMEs, right? When I say great equalizer, it means with you going digital, as you move towards digitalization of your business, you need to use the cloud. If you are, do not buy, I will go as far to say, do not buy hardware anymore to power your business. On-premise hardware, right? It's gonna cost you a lot of money and it will tie up your capital for this expensive hardware. Just subscribe to cloud services. Just go to the AWS website and there's so many cloud services that you can take advantage of, or go to our partners, right, who have built solutions specifically for you for a few hundred pesos a month. Sometimes solutions we also have solutions from partners that's like just 50 pesos per month, right, or 100 pesos per month. So low cost to power your business and go digital as soon as possible, right? You know, I'm encouraged by the story of Kalinisan Chemicals. I don't know if you're familiar with Kalinisan Chemicals, right? This is like a family business that started at home. They just made cleaning solutions on their own, right? Right at their homes, right? And they've become very popular. They've become big. And they use cloud computing, they use AWS to go digital, to go e-commerce, and they're using SAP B1. This is a very low cost platform of SAP, which is a very popular platform, and it's running on AWS. And now they have customers like Jollibee and NutriAsia and buildings and manufacturing companies and hotels using Kalinisan Chemicals that started as a very small family business, right? They were wise. They went digital. They used cloud computing. It just so happens that they use AWS as well as their cloud platform, and there are many reasons why they're using AWS. We encourage you to do the same. Good luck on your business, and we in AWS are more than happy to support you in your journey. Maraming salamat po.
By the way, Margie, if I may also, aside from going to visiting our websites, perhaps the MSMEs can also coordinate directly with our regional offices so that we will be able to answer their needs. Like, tell us what you need, what capacity building, upskilling, reskilling that you need, and we will be very glad to assist you. So please, and I definitely agree to what Tep said earlier, that look at ICT as an enabler, as a game changer for you guys. ICT should never be taken for granted at this point in time. Thank you. Thank you.
Maraming salamat to both of you and to ASEC Jean Pacheco as well. Thank you for this very, very, very fruitful conversation that we had. We hope our SMEs enjoyed this this session and onwards to seeing what the next steps are. I'm turning this over now to Paolo and to Bernice for the next part of this morning. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you to all the panelists, ASIC Jean, Director Malu, and Mr. Tep, and our moderator, Ms. Margie, for an insightful panel discussion. So, Paolo, we learned about, ASIC Jean presented the levels of digitalization that we are envisioning for our MSMEs. And we also heard about the different projects that the government and the private sector has in place for our SMEs, for our Philippine SMEs. Truly, the onboarding and encouragement of our SMEs to be part or to embrace the digitalization won't materialize without the collaboration of the government and the private sector. So it's very important that this collaboration continues for our MSMEs to reach their digital potentials.
All right. And again, that's only the first of the panel sessions that we have right now. And I'm sure everyone is excited, and we want to move on to our second panel session. We will learn about the U.S. private sector's support to help the Philippines SMEs digital skill gaps. We will be joined by Mr. Paul Sears, Solutions Architecture from Amazon Web Services, and will present to us the benefits of cloud computing for SMEs and the transformation of customer experience through the use of digital tools. And this session will be moderated by Ms. Nugraheni Utami, Manager of SME Initiatives Indonesia from the US-ASEAN Business Council. For sure, these tools will increase your productivity in transactions and level up your customer service experience or your customer experience. Let's now listen in to our distinguished guests and sponsors for this session. Ms. Utami, I'll turn over the screen to you.
Thank you, Sir Paul. Thank you, Ms. Bernice. Good morning, everyone. My name is Nugrahani Utami, or you can call me Utami. So I'm the manager for the SME initiative from the US-ASEAN Business Council. I'm also managing the Indonesia portfolio in USABC. And I'm going to be the moderator for the second session. We just heard from the previous session an interesting policy discussion between public and private sectors on how the government's plan to create path for you to support digitalization and the role of the private sectors to support the government program and a potential collaboration. But in this session specifically, we will hear more in details and in depth of what the US private sectors. In here, we have Amazon Web Services to sharing, to support how we can close the digital skills gaps for the Philippines SME. We just heard that the government and private sector create a supportive ecosystem and how we can give you some incentive to help you achieve the maximum digital potential and support your business. But actually what is the most important is also preparing and equip ourselves as the small business with the right skills and digital tool solution, especially to leverage and improve your business. So you will hear and listen a presentation from our excellent speaker, Mr. Paul Sears, Solution Architect 3 of Amazon Web Services. So I'm gonna introduce him briefly before we begin this session. So Mr. Paul has been in the information, communication, and technology and operational technology domain for more than 30 years in various leadership roles with various enterprises on system engineering, data center and network operations, information security, and solution architecture. He's currently working for AWS Philippines as a senior solution architect, helping customers successfully do the impossible. He's also a SME for AWS Well Architected, a framework of best practices for operating secure, reliable, performance lowest cost, and sustainable workload in the AWS cloud. And before we begin, I would like to remind a few housekeeping notes. I already see some of you share some comments and thoughts in the chat box, but you may share your question again in chat box for this specific session. We are muting yourself, so it will help listen the session easier. Don't forget to mention your name, your business name, and your organization, and your city location when you're sharing your questions. We will answer your questions during our Q&A session later after the presentation from Mr. Paul. So without further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Paul. So Paul, the screen is yours.
Thank you very much. I am now sharing my screen. Hopefully you can see my presentation. Okay, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the beginning parts. We are pressed for time, and I do appreciate the energy that we're all trying to deliver all this amazing content, everybody. There's so much to talk about and so much to learn. So just a little bit about myself. As mentioned, I've been with AWS for over 6.5 years. I am currently in the Philippines. I've been here for 3.5 years. I do live in BGC, so I'm local, and I support many local customers, enterprises, as well as a lot of micro and small and medium enterprises. So I've covered all different use cases and customer stories and challenges they face, and we help them do the impossible and help them be successful. And that's my whole mission, is to support them and help them grow. But let's talk about what we can do as SMEs are how they transition and really go into the new normal, right? We learned a lot through pandemic, and how do we actually get to a place where we can be sustainable in this new normal, where it's going to be a mixture of traditional business as well as digital enabled business. So how do you accelerate and how do you transform to be able to take advantage and to prosper in the new normal? So SMEs are huge. We've already heard a number of statistics around what SMEs are in terms of scope in this region and in the world, but in ASEAN area itself, it's a huge amount of almost 90% of enterprises are going to be SMBs or small medium enterprises, and so they're you all are very important, right? You're critical, you're foundational to the prosperity of everybody and the country. So there's a lot of drivers that are tending to push the acceleration to transform to become a digital enabled or enterprise, right? So there's strong operations, a lot of needs to compete and to survive, because if you're not moving, you're not transforming, your competitors will be, and they'll be taking advantage of new opportunities and new ways to deliver goods and services to their own customers. So there, you need to really understand the pressures of moving forward. Plus, there's a whole different set of amount of information you can gain about how your customers interact that you can use to further engage them and give them a higher quality experience. So we see a lot of trends happening right now during a pandemic, and actually this is really boosted during pandemic, but 42% moving to web stores, omni transactions are really taking a hold of everything. And then mobile commerce, right? How many of us purchased using our mobile devices, right? So this is a very key part of the digital trend and supporting that level of engagement. And then also we see a lot of shoppers now are starting to try using voice engagement to do their interactions to purchase their goods or their services. So it's also another aspect of these digital trends we're seeing locally as well as worldwide. And a lot of priorities, obviously, when you're building or operating an e-commerce platform, a lot of things you need to worry about, and obviously performance. And there's some data around that. If you do not capture a customer in 3 seconds, you're going to lose them. So you have 3 seconds to get their attention and to help them do what they want to do. And so it's very important to make sure you have a highly performant platform you're using. Personalization is also very important. How do you make the experience personalized? This is something Amazon has done very, very well in terms of how they engaged and they built these solutions to allow every customer to have a unique experience while purchasing what they want to purchase. And we see, as mentioned earlier in all the previous talks, a huge opportunity for small and medium enterprises. And many of you are starting to get out there. Maybe you have a little bit of a presence on a website, maybe a social media, you're on Facebook or your other tools, but that's just the start of it, right? So you're slowly taking the steps, but now how do we get there? What do we do next? So how can you use technology to really transform our businesses, right? So we're gonna go from an SME to a digital SME. And what does that actually mean? So you have goals, these are your normal goals we all have in terms of how we want to succeed as an organization. But when we look at with accelerated technology adoption, you're going to see growth in your top line revenue. You're going to see increase of your profits and faster access to new markets and customers. And plus, you're going to get a lot more engagement with your own employees. So you're going to see a lot more. There's benefits of accelerated technology adoption are great. And there's some paths here. We heard omni-channel earlier, mobile first solutions, the discoverability, e-commerce is a step. And then obviously into infra solutions, how do you actually operate a business entirely as a technology digital business? And then modern services such as analytics, AI, ML, IoT. So AI, which is artificial intelligence and machine learning, these are really, really going to be important aspects as you start to understand how data can empower you, which I'll cover a little bit later. So there's also, when you adopt to cloud, and when you move into the cloud, you start to get, everybody wants to talk about costs. Costs are really a focus, but there's more than this value. It's more than cost, it's called value. So you get while you reduce your costs per spend, you also grow the value because you're able to support more customers with better experiences. And with that better engagement, you're going to continue to sell and deliver more what they want, and you're going to actually grow and get more revenues that way. So while costs are very important as this, and using AWS as a cloud platform can reduce your costs, you can also think about the value you're going to gain from transforming into a digital enterprise. So some considerations, and this is some challenges that customers face right now is, we look at the top here. So we see some drivers, improving productivity, demand from customers, collaborations, data, how to attract new customers, but also some challenges. Security is a big challenge, and Sir Tap mentioned earlier about how AWS can help you with security and improve your security of your platforms and your services, your technology. And then integration difficulties. How do you put it all together? A lack of skills, which we'll also talk about a little later on here, how we can address some of those skills things. And funding was covered and such. So you'll see these challenges as well as drivers that everybody's facing right now. And so how does AWS actually can benefit every industry, every organization, no matter what size you are. And we're going to see some payoffs overall. You'll see lower cost per user, more efficient staff, less downtime. So your availability is very important to your customers. As I mentioned earlier, data shows that if you don't retain your customer within 3 seconds of their visit, you're going to lose them. If they're not able to interact or engage with your platform the way they need to when they want to, you're also going to lose them. Right, so very impacts to your platform availability. These things are definitely things you need to be worried about and figure out how to address that. And AWS can help you with that. And I'm talking a little fast. I apologize because we have limited time here. So I am moving along as I can here. So let's talk about some cloud computing benefits. And first, I want to clarify what actually is cloud computing. And it is fundamentally, in a very simple definition, it's the on-demand delivery of your IT resources over the internet with pay-as-you-go pricing. So this is different. This is more like a utility service, like your power bill or your water bill. As you consume a service, you pay for it. When you don't consume it anymore, you don't pay for it anymore. So it's really pay as you go. Whereas traditional IT is more about investing into a large investment of capex expenditures. You'll plan your capacities, you'll acquire your facilities, everything else. So you have a large upfront capital investment. And you're also responsible for managing it yourself or having organizations to manage it for you. And to get innovate, to get new capabilities is very difficult. For example, let's say you want to try out a new project and you want to do an experiment. And experimentation is key for innovation, and innovation is key for continuing to success and grow and dominate your market. So if you want to do a project and we call old world IT, you have to procure and go through the cycle of acquiring a vendor and delivering equipment, installing equipment. That could take months, 3-6 months or longer, especially now with some of the issues with supply chain issues for compute technology due to pandemic. So when you do it in AWS, you have actually low variable costs because you're only paying for what you need. There's no upfront large investments. You have access to over 200 plus services to integrate into your solutions. And you have unlimited scalability and agility. You want to try a new project, you just turn up some services, you try them out, and if you like the project, you continue. If you don't like it, you turn it off and you don't pay for it anymore. So it allows you to quickly experiment and innovate, whereas a traditional IT, it's much more difficult and much slower to discover new ways to deliver your goods and services. So customers move to a cloud operating model. They actually move there to transform faster because everything you don't have the same constraints you have under traditional IT. So here, the CTO of Echelon Fitness Multimedia, they're a small company. This quote here kind of really embodies a lot what a small and medium enterprises experience, that they get the same level of quality that very large enterprises gain from operating their infrastructures on AWS. So you're like anybody else. You would be as treated, have the same opportunities, the same capabilities and qualities that huge organizations have as well. So you actually can take advantage of cloud and incorporate all those advantages and help you build and become the next top of your market organization. So how can AWS? Why AWS? How can you partner with us? So just a quick reminder. Sir Tep already mentioned this before, but AWS is a part of Amazon.com, and Amazon.com is one of the world's largest online retailers, and originally started out as selling books, so the idea was when the massive warehouses of moving a lot of inventory, they built a lot of expertise around running large infrastructure services, including technology. And so Amazon decided to make this available to customers to use, and AWS was born. And so now customers can leverage the expertise, the scale, the automation, the tooling, the services that Amazon was using to build their own solutions. And so AWS was formed around 2006, the first services. We've been around for 16 years already. So we're the longest in the cloud so far. Let me move on to my slide. Here we go. So how can we help you? So we have a huge number of services. I mentioned over 200 plus. You get a large breadth and depth of services to innovate. So we support innovation. You can go global and reach. Let's say you're focusing now on a local market, but now you want to expand. You want to expand to another country in ASEAN, maybe Indonesia, or maybe you want to expand into Thailand, or maybe you want to expand to Japan. You can very easily do so with our regions around the world. And you can move your services and run your services closer to where your customers actually are. So you give them better experience overall. And it's very easy to do so with automation and the global reach that AWS provides you. AWS provides you agility and agility and elasticity, meaning that the constraints you have normally on-premises and infrastructure, traditional IT, you don't really have those in AWS. You want to run 100 servers for your environment, you can run 100 servers. There's no procurement. You just turn them on when you need them, turn them off when you're done. You want to do 1,000 servers, you can do that as well. So you can scale and in ways that you never really thought about because you were faced with physical constraints or provider constraints locally. And so the advantages of moving to a cloud platform really let you innovate, scale, and address your customers' needs more quickly. Security is enterprise class, as Sir Tep mentioned earlier. AWS, at AWS, security is job zero. So everything we do is focused around security and helping our customers operate and maintain the secure applications. They are able to do so. We have many ways to help you with things like well architected, which is a framework of best practices, including security, to help you be secure and operate efficiently and with reliability and such. So we can go deeper in many things here. I'm just touching on these at a high level because of time, but we have so much more we can share with you and help you understand and enable you to be successful. So as I mentioned earlier, 200 plus fully featured services. We've also continued to lower our prices over time. We give our prices back to our customers, 85 price reductions since we were first formed. And we have also one of the most reliable platforms out there, 7 times less downtime hours from other providers and on-premise infrastructures. And we have 84 availability zones, 26 regions around the world you can operate out of. So you have many opportunities to go from a local focus to a regional focus into a global focus just overnight if you like to do that. And we continue to help you with your costs, reduce your costs. We provide you ways to run your infrastructure more efficiently, which also reduces your costs. And because it's highly performant, high reliable, less downtime. And we also have our own agility. We're continuing to innovate ourselves, our services, our solutions. We're always adding more features for you to use and leverage and incorporate into your own solutions for your customers to improve your customers' experience and improve your engagement with those customers. We have a large number of SMEs in the region, including many in this country. These are the ones that we can actually mention to you, like, for example, Concepcion and their CDO. But there's many, many more. We have so many businesses here who are leveraging cloud successfully in order to grow their own businesses. So Tep mentioned a few other ones, such as Grab, and obviously it's some of the bigger ones, Airbnb and Netflix. It all started out very small, leveraging the agility and the scalability the cloud platform provide to able to grow and scale their businesses rapidly. So here's a couple examples here locally. Global Sign, they have a live platform to empower live virtual events, and they were able to develop platform in 6 months, so much faster time to market, and they were able to react and give the experience their customers actually wanted. And actually, Shakey's had a high volume of online orders, and this was even more of a pressure during the pandemic when we weren't actually able to go to locations in person because we had restrictions and lockdowns. So we had to resort to online purchases. So Shakey's was able to modernize and scale their online businesses to handle more traffic and 10 times more transactions. So there's many ways you can do this. And again, this is a very high level discussion because of time limits. We can go really, really deep and help you build your solutions and help you find partners that can help you deliver as well. But here's an overall, some of the steps you do to begin this process. First, you need to figure out where you want to be. If you are existing enterprise, you probably have to migrate your services over because you would move out of your on-premises infrastructure and you move into AWS to leverage all the features and the benefits that we already presented to you. So you'd migrate and move in there. And then once you migrate your infrastructure, you begin to modernize. And modernize means you transform your applications, the way you deliver your services to your customers to make them more efficient, to make them more scalable, to let them grow faster. Things like we call serverless, meaning that you can actually run infrastructure without having any servers behind it because nothing to worry about, less to manage, less to operate, and more reliability. We have also, you can start moving into expanding into other services outside of the core compute websites, e-commerce platforms, databases you may already have, and remove silos of data. So now you can start building analytics platforms, look into 360 views of your customer, share your transactions with your partners seamlessly through integrations and cloud and APIs and such, and start building data lakes to capture all this data that's really rich of information to help you improve your customer experience. We want to really help you focus on building that relationship with your customer so they will always be your customer and you can grow with them. And then you also can improve the customer experience, interactive ways through chatbots and reviews, and optimize the experience and reach more customers. You can expand into different markets, mobile, social media market, voice, do things like drop shipping. So you see there are a whole path you can follow. And ultimately you can deliver on your brand promise. You're building a relationship, you're building a brand, and customers are going to rely on your brand to give them a high quality experience, high quality goods and services. And so ultimately this journey lets you to reach that goal faster and to build that brand that customers will be loyal to, and you'll be able to grow and take those customers on a journey with you. Also, another thing to consider too is that the way you interact with customers has changed. This is an example of many different ways that you might need to interact with customers, especially now with a new normal and with the digital enabled organizations. Things like credit cards, how you handle transactions. I lost my card, or I lost my loyalty card, or lost XYZ. How do you handle that? I need to update my address, simple things like that, or need to file a claim, or need to get information about how you deliver your services. Are you even open during the lockdown? Where did customers even go to find if a business was open or not during a restricted time period, right? You want to pay your bills. How do you reduce friction? How do you make that experience easier so customers can pay their bills quickly and you get those payments faster without any hassle for the customers? You want to improve their experience, right? So you can see how everything has changed and evolving to be more engaged. And engagement is going to be the key for everything. So another strategy you have here is you start with cloud in the core, right? I mentioned earlier, you start with the cloud, you then migrate and modernize. It allows you to become agile and focus on help you become more cost effective. You can lower your costs over time by being more precise in how you operate your infrastructure. And then you start to focus on the customer experience, and you increase your conversions, you build your customers. You look at alternate channels such as social media and mobile, and then you start to deliver on your brand, which is your fulfillment, how you actually deliver those goods and services to your customers in a high quality manner that really gives them the best experience possible, right? That's the ultimate we want to get to. So this is part of that journey and that strategy. You can look at a way to market to your customers. Look at all these different opportunities you have here, the way you can address and gather information. How do you really know your customer? We have a lot of data showing that a personalized experience, a engaging experience can really grow your business with that customer, because they really want to feel like they are unique, they are special, and you give them what they actually want. So you have things like how you engage them, the messaging and campaigns, and the platforms, mobile and web, and how you deliver your services, advertising. How do you personalize with build that custom experience? Can you use interactive voice experiences, such as a conversational engagement with them over using a chat box or AI technology? So these are things that all are part of the landscape you're going to be looking into when you become a digitally transformed organization. You can increase your reach, and this is many different ways to do this. And there's another view of the same basically data, right? How do you focus on all the end-to-end engagement with the customer, which is where you want to do, and being a digitally transformed organization helps you do all these things here, because you're integrated, you're no longer siloed with the data. You actually can leverage services to take this data in different ways and make the right decisions around that data, right? And then you can engage all these customers in so many different platforms, outreach to them, and continue to grow their experience, okay? So we, as Sartep mentioned earlier, a couple of these already. There's a couple of platforms you can get to right now and utilize and build your online presence, your way to focus into your customers and begin your transformation to a digital organization. So these are just some examples of things you can do. I won't cover this too much here, but you can go online, and AWS can help you find these customers, these partners, to build you these tools to help you deliver your goods and services to your customers. But all different aspects. There's e-commerce stores, there's CRMs, which are customer relationship management tools. There are different things you can do to help engage those customers. Such as digital info alchemies with the personalization and forecasting. How do you really know and handle trends? So one of the things that really became apparent during the pandemic was the impacts of pandemic to supply chain. Supply chains weren't able to forecast demand because the whole way demand was engaging shifted, right? It was no longer very predictable. You're no longer delivering goods to a store to sell. You now are figuring out how to deliver things online with different kinds of options. Logistics were a challenge, right? So supply chains were a big thing. Imagine if you could actually forecast your revenues and your engagement with the customers. So there are tools that can help you do that as well. And let me give you an example of a Philippines company here, how they shifted into the cloud. So CDO is a very, very popular food brand in the Philippines. They've been around for 45 years in the country, and a lot of common brands that you are familiar with. And they were facing a lot of challenges, and this was even pre-pandemic, but it was really became a significant issue during the pandemic as well. But on-premise legacy systems, they were hard to maintain on-premise systems because they were older, their code wasn't supported, aging hardware, they had performance issues, a lot of common challenges that many organizations face now, they were facing. Yes, this is a very large organization. However, the same problems they face, everybody faces at one time or another. And so they had a solution, was to lift and shift their infrastructure into a cloud platform. And then what they did was they took their infrastructure in their on-premise data centers, they lifted and shifted it. We call it lift and shift, where they took basically the application stacks and moved them into AWS. And by doing so, they had a significant improvement of their own operations and their own, and it really improved their customer experiences as well. For example, the application downtimes, they had over two times per week on average, and they had 0 since as of December 2020 on AWS. The time it took them to process was much slower. It took a lot faster to process everything they're building and delivering in the cloud much faster. So they're able to enhance their customer experience, enhance their delivery of their goods and services to their own customers as well, and grow, right? And this helps everybody down the road. So they saw some immediate benefits by the transformation. And this was just the first step. They did the migration part. There's still so much more they can do, such as how they begin to modernize their application stack to take advantage of new services such as AI AI and ML. Ultimately, they want to migrate everything out into AWS. And so you can see them, you'll focus here on building data lakes, which is where they put all the data together. They can then run analysis on this stuff. They can engage, have a personalized experience. They can, do some analytics that can really figure out what customers really want and how to anticipate demands and forecast much better than they were doing before. So how this leads into how we can leverage what really comes down to is that when you move into a cloud platform, one of the big advantages you have is access to data. So right now on your traditional infrastructure, you're collecting data, but it's probably siloed. It's probably in a server here and a server there, maybe a database here. And it's really hard to share all that data and build tools and applications that can use that data to an advantage. When we move into AWS Cloud, you now have the ability to build massive data platforms, and you can integrate all these services that AWS offers to help you analyze, understand what your customers actually want, how they're using your goods and services, how to forecast better to deliver for them, so you have able to meet their needs when they want to be met, right? So it lets you also to innovate and build new experiences. Can you do more? Can you leverage personalization to increase the brand loyalty that your customers have? How do you do all these things here, right? So this is what a data strategy. So data analytics is very, very important. This is going to be a competitive advantage for all organizations when they can take the data they're collecting already and make some use it for some good values to generate good decisions, innovation, right? New ways to deliver goods and services better to their customers. And so you can build things like a data lake house, which is a data lake more or less, where you can do collect all this data, break the silos down, whether data is structured or unstructured data, whether it's clickstream data from websites, or whether it's interactive data from videos, or even audio clips from chat sessions. You can start doing predictions, making about customer behaviors, demand forecasting, pricing analytics. Well, how much pricing tolerance is a customer going to have, right? So you can actually learn these things and help you position your products and goods to your customers optimally for them to have the best experience and the highest brand loyalty. Okay, so this is why data is so important. And when you move your operations, your infrastructure into the cloud, such as AWS, you'll be able to have access to all these services that we offer, such as machine learning and artificial intelligence and analytics packages that will let you make sense of this data quickly and discover new ways to engage with the customers. We heard the expression a connected customer. So customer 360, which is a 360 view of engaging these customers. How do you interact with them throughout the whole thing? You have a customer experience and customer engagement. A customer experience is when you're actually interacting with a customer. Maybe it's online in your portal or in your store, if you have a physical store. The experience is all before and after the actual, the engagement is before and after the experience. The engagement is where you want to focus on building that relationship. Right? How do you understand what they do, what they want, where they want to go, and you can be there for them to meet their needs. So all these things you can do with a platform, AWS, very easily now. You can build this 360 view of your customers and engage them better to give them better experience, to increase their brand loyalty with you, and obviously ultimately increasing your revenues. Here's an example here, Domino's Pizza, we're all familiar with, hopefully we're all familiar with. They wanted to reduce the pickup and delivery times for orders because they were getting a lot of demand. This is particularly true during the pandemic. Everybody ordered, delivery, right? They could not go to stores. And so Domino's leveraged a service on AWS called Amazon SageMaker to build a machine learning model to forecast orders. And this allowed them to predict behaviors and high volume activity, so they can actually make sure they were able to deliver that ahead of time. So they actually helped them to achieve a goal of delivery in 10 minutes or less for many locations. And it really improved customer satisfaction, customer experience, customer engagement. Right, so the happier customers are with your platform and goods and services, the longer you're going to have those customers. Another example here is Loyalty Lab. They actually were able to, they wanted to use machine learning to find correlations, and they didn't want to actually have a whole data science staff. So they leveraged AWS, and they found another a third-party vendor selling a model, a machine learning model that they were able to use, Local Labs able to use to do this. So they need to buy it. They didn't need to build a data science team. They actually were able to leverage already work and products available from another company to leverage themselves. So you can build upon other features. Other companies can offer the services on top of AWS that you can incorporate as well and add more value and then solve your problems faster. Amazon.com is another good example. We 50 petabytes of data, 600,000 analyst jobs a day. The data warehouse is at scale, so they switched to a data lake perspective or data lake architecture, and now they can store over 100 petabytes of data, lower costs, go faster. So they can deliver insights faster and respond to changing demands and requirements nearly instantaneously. So when a customer shifts their needs or what the trends are, they can adopt quickly to that, and allows you to be more accurate and give you a better customer experience. So how can AWS help you with this? So we have many ways you can do this. You can contact us directly. You can talk to our partners. We have a free tier, which was mentioned earlier. We actually try some services out for free, and we have a number of solutions. In addition, we have many partners in the Philippines who can help you get started onto AWS. You also can talk to people like myself who will help you in your organization figure out the path for you to take to go from a traditional organization to a digital organization, and and avoid some of the pitfalls and hurdles that you might encounter when you're doing it alone by yourself. So we have a lot of partners who are very happy to help you engage and be successful. Okay, so these are just some examples of this. We also have a number of ways to build your skills, because skill gap is still a challenge. You may have a way to build a solution, but you need a way to understand how to innovate, continue to innovate on that solution, as well as operate it, right? So you can learn your cloud skills, and we have many free programs, AWS, over 500 free digital courses. You can become certified as well, which can help you demonstrate strength in those focus areas. For example, if you are a technology firm, you can build credibility through certification in that way. And also, AWS Educate is a part of AWS that focuses on building relationships and educating students and young professionals and entry-level clouds. Help you build this talent pool. Help you yourself actually to enable and scale up your teams as you need to. This is one of the many resources we have out there. So depending on where you are, if you are even like an organization you want to transform yourselves, you can do a restart where you can change your career and move into a more of a digital career by adopting the AWS Restart program, for example. There's also the ASEAN SME Academy, which is an online training program providing free centralized online access to relevant and country-specific training resources. I know that is the question around localization of content. Is it all in English, or can it be in my local dialect or my local languages? There's a lot of content out there that's being developed and being made available to you in local dialects. And these are great resources to find that content that you can search for and learn new skills. So in summary, there's a momentum shift, as we heard over and over again already, that organizations our technology is actually accelerating the transformation from a traditional organization to a digital organization. And cloud is what makes it happen. It makes it happen faster, easier, and less expensive over time, and it enables agility and innovation, which is really what the advantages of becoming a digital transformed organization are. And then AWS can help you get there, get the most from the cloud, and you can help you collaborate with you to be successful in your journey. Okay, so thank you. I hope I met my time limit here. I didn't go too far over. Again, my contact information is available here. Welcome to reach out to me on either email or through LinkedIn. I'm happy to talk to you as well. And we have many resources within AWS and our partners. We're very happy to help you with your solutions, help you solve your problems and give you solutions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sir Paul, for a very detailed and very informative presentation. I do believe this is really helpful for the SME to listen, especially like for the one that, just the first time listening about what is cloud computing, like how this can help our business. Because as Sir Paul said that it's not easy to explain like in a very time limit, like 30 minutes, because when I hear this, it's like a one semester program for me. Like you need, it's not about just the technology, that you need like time and the skill set to achieve and, to using that. And I mean, like, this is like just the initial information and the briefing. And as Sir Paul already mentioned, that there are a lot of other support information. You can contact them AWS to support your business. We already heard about very inspiring, like how the SME go into the digital SME and how it's really helped the business improve, but most importantly, like improve the customer experience, because as we all always know that the customer is the king, and how to get the customer is like, to service them as best as possible and create a personalization. So the customer have like some attachment to our, product and business itself. So I think like that's the case of, how we can use this AWS support the cloud computing to support your business and become the digital SME, because now it's the future. It's not even the future, it's the present now. Like if we want to compete with the other, businesses, or maybe like overall Philippines SME compete with the other SME from the other country, that's how we need to, always learn, always study about how we can improve ourselves. I see, well, I don't know why you're quite shy to share some questions, but please feel free. If you can raise your hand. I can allow you to speak if you have any questions. But maybe like my questions from my side, Sir Paul, like in your point of view, because I think one of the challenges for the SMEs about this cyber threat, like what is the risk of the Philippines with cyber threats and possibility of cyber attacks, and how AWS can support, protect the business itself? I think that's kind of some challenges and some scary things if we want to tap into the, digital SME here. Thank you, Sir Paul.
That's actually a great question, and we are often asked that question as security is very, very on everybody's mind, right? How to protect their businesses, and in terms of profile, in terms of cyber attacks, I do not believe Philippines is any different than any other country in the world. I think it's the same profile around the world. But what's different here is, I think, the awareness of the end users, the consumers, and how they engage, right? There are a lot of phishing attacks and SMS link attacks, which the misdirections, those kind of things, where a bad actor will basically pretend to be an organization, send out a text message and say, click on this link, which allows them to get data or compromises someone's account. So that's more of an awareness thing. And I see a lot of organizations now stepping up to really educate their own users and customers. But in terms of the actual infrastructure itself, AWS security is everything we do. It's the first thing we do, but security is not just AWS. It's also part of the organization, the customer's responsibility. We have what's called a shared responsibility model, because we can give you security of the infrastructure, manage the data centers and the facilities and networks and all the stuff that will give you security around that. But how you build your applications is up to you, right? And the platforms you use and how you integrate that and how you protect your own data. So it's really a shared thing, and we can help customers learn how to follow the best practices to minimize their risks and minimize the risk for their own customers, right? But so it's a combination of the cloud platform actually can enhance your security, but we have all these features and services you can integrate that you may not have access to right now, right? So for example, we have services that can monitor your accounts for malicious behavior using AI or machine learning to understand what's normal and what's not normal and alert you on these situations. But again, if you aren't making the right decisions on how to protect your data and do you expose it to your customer, for your customers, that's a different challenge, and we can help educate you with that as well. So we spend a lot of time with our customers walking through best practices, helping them review architectures to minimize any kind of security risk, to enhance their security posture, right? To make it better for their customers, because the last thing we want anybody who experiences any kind of data impact or privacy issue, or the actual inconvenience of a bad transaction. It may be easy these days with a credit card to get a charge reversed, but it's still a hassle, right? And that impacts the customer experience. Customers do not want to deal with that. They want to know that what they're doing with you is secure and they trust you, right? So trust is very important. And we can help you understand how to build and operate your platforms in a way that delivers that trust. Okay.
Agree with you. Trust is really important, especially we want to maintain the customer. It's not just the technology, fast, response and everything, but trust is really important, especially like when we are using the cloud of things. Sometimes we have our customer data. So that's one of the main important thing, like whether that we are trustable or not.
Right.
Yeah, I think one last question from my end, Sir Paul, before we are moving to another agenda after this is like, what is the most the first steps that the SME, especially for the small enterprise, to enter the cloud computing service and to become digital? Like, what is the most effectively timely manner and they can boost productivity? Because sometimes I understand in the perspective of the small business, we are afraid to do something and fail, but we want to do and start something and feel like a success, and then it can encourage them to to do more and learn more on this side. Sir Paul, maybe if you have some suggestion here.
Okay, so let me rephrase the question because like my Zoom froze up just for like a minute there while you're talking. So, but if I understand your question, you're asking how can SMEs begin the journey, right? In a way that because we're all there, especially SMEs are pressed for capital. They're limited resources and they have limited time too. A lot of small businesses don't have a lot of extra time to try new things out. So it's a great question, and it's the first step really is to well, I think there's three parts of this, right? One part is education, and these type of sessions we're doing here, the sessions we have AWS, the free online seminars we have, and the free in-person seminars we have, are a great way to get the knowledge about how cloud can help you and how to start innovating and thinking about your cloud, how to build your operations, your business, and things you should know. But at the same time, it's very simple to migrate many workloads from your on-premise environment into AWS. So migration is another step too. And we have mechanisms or programs that help you minimize that risk. We can help you do a POC, a proof of concept to see that, okay, let's take your workload, let's replicate your workload in AWS and see what you think about it. And we have ways to help you do that with minimal risk and minimal cost. So you can engage AWS account managers, you can engage partners that can help the SMEs take that first step, reduce the risk, and not really put a whole lot of investment. Obviously, there's some investment in there because you got to have some skin in the game, right? But at the same time, AWS will work with you to minimize the risk you're going to have, and there's no commitment. If you don't like what's happening, you just turn it off, which is an advantage because if you're doing on premises, you want to buy a new infrastructure, you have to invest. You're stuck with that investment, whether or not you like the outcome, right? But if you want to try a migration in AWS, you can engage a partner, engage AWS account teams, and we help you with that journey. And if it doesn't work out for you, we just turn it off and you're back to where you were, and you just tried something, right? So that's the first step, really. But the knowledge is a big piece of this as well. And I think the third piece is really understanding your business, where you want to go, and understanding what your customers really need. What are your goals, right? If you have that also well defined, I think the other two pieces kind of go together. So just reach out to us and reach out to our partners, and we'll help you get started on that. And it was great to hear DICT and DTI also with this, and I believe there'll also be ways to engage with them as well to help that journey.
Thank you, Sir Paul. As you already mentioned, you can contact him directly, as you see on the screens. There's his email, his LinkedIn profile. Maybe we also can share the part where you share about the AWS education and some useful ways to the audience later.
Yes, we can share these things. Yeah, there's also here. Oops, sorry. There's this slide here. We can share this as well, and I believe we can make these available. These resources available to you later.
Yes. Thank you. And about the ASEAN SME Academy, you will hear later from Executive Director Nelly after our breakout room session. So once again, thank you so much, Sir Paul, for a very
Sure.
exciting discussion and very useful knowledge. And I would like to thank you for audience who gave so listens, and hopefully you can stay until the end of the program, because after this we will have a breakout room session. So I'm gonna give the screen back to Miss Bernice and Mr. Paulo before we start our breakout room sessions. Thank you so much and see you later.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
And thank you so much, Mr. Paul, for that very informative discussion. And of course, Ms. Utami for moderating this session. Being flexible and keeping up with the digital age is now somewhat being a requirement to be competitive in the market. So getting excerpts from Mr. Paul's discussion, you need to build your brand through ease of process using digital tools. And by doing that, you improve customer experience. And when customers are happy, we are all happy, right? And now, for our last session, we will have a roundtable discussion to address the importance of collaboration for SMEs development. And we will now continue to the breakout rooms, as we mentioned earlier. And we will have 3 separate breakout rooms. We have, again, Ms. Utami from US-ABC as our main moderator for this session.
And the first breakout room will be facilitated by Mr. Edwin Moran from the SME Committee of the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and the topic will be challenges and potentials for Philippine SMEs.
The second breakout room is about closing digital skill gaps for the Philippines SMEs and will be facilitated by Mr. Edwin Pasahol from the Bureau of SME Development, DTI.
And finally, the third breakout room is themed Looking Ahead, the importance of collaboration for Philippines SMEs development. And this will be facilitated by Ms. Utami of US-ABC.
So again, please choose the breakout room you would like to join by clicking on the options on the screen, and we look forward to hearing a fruitful discussion that will be coming from you, our dear SMEs. You can see the on your screen the topics, so you may choose from those. And now,
now before we turn over the screen to Ms. Utami, the participants are encouraged to choose which breakout room they would like to join in. So the breakout rooms will last for 55 minutes. So the facilitators will be giving the instructions when you go inside the breakout room. So, and now we are going to turn over the screen to Ms. Utami as the main moderator for the breakout room session. Ms. Utami, over to you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Bea and Sir Paulo. So everybody, if you see on the screen, on the button below, there's a button called breakout room sessions, and you can choose 3 rooms. First, for the group 1, about challenges and potential for Philippines SME, and we will have Mr. Edwin from PCCI to facilitate the discussion. And then the second group is closing digital skills gap. We'll facilitate it by Mr. Edwin Pasahol from Philippine Department of Trade and Industry. So we have 2 Mr. Edwin for group 1 and group 2. And then the group T, I'm gonna be the one that facilitate, and we will discuss about looking ahead the importance of collaboration for Philippines SME development. So our organizer will help to assign you, but it will be also helpful if you can choose which group that you want to join. So we will have like around 5 minutes for you to choose. Maybe you want to think like which group that you want to join. You also can move to different groups later on. But what I really hope during the breakout room session is you can be active and sharing your thoughts and opinions. Our facilitator later will sharing some thoughtful questions for you to answer and discuss together. And later, after 30 minutes of discussion in your each specific group, we can back into the main room and discuss again your conclusion after the presentation, the discussion later. So I'm gonna go ahead to my own group and meet our group participants. But I see there are still around 200 people not choosing. So I know our organizers are working really hard to assign you to each group here. So see you later in next 30 minutes. And I really wish that you have a nice discussion together with the facilitator. So we are back. I see some familiar faces here. Hi, Michelle. How are you? Oh, I don't know if Michelle can unmute yourself. I'm sorry. Okay, so I think we will wait for some participants going back to the main room. I'm from the group 3 and we have a nice discussion with our group participants. I'm not sure if Sir Edwin from group 1 and Sir Edwin from group 2 already back. Okay, I think we can. Okay, we will have around 20 seconds waiting. Everyone's going back to the main room, but I just want to check if Sir Edwin from PCCI already here. If yes, you can raise your hand. I think group 1. Oh, so many people in group 1. Also group 2. Okay. All right. So everybody here.
I'm still here.
Okay. Hi, Sir Edwin.
Okay.
And also Sir Edwin from DTI. So we have two Sir Edwin here. All right. So here what we're gonna do, because we already have a nice discussion with our participants in each group. So we can have like around, so each group representative will have 5 minutes to present the conclusion of your discussion. So we can start from Sir Edwin from group 1. So I think the note taker, I see Angelica is the note taker, can share. Yeah, perfect. Your discussion here. All right. So Sir Edwin, I'll give it back to you.
Okay, so thank you very much. And so there are a couple of things that they have wanted to discuss. And they're talking about basically budget. So making that transition from where they were before, where prices were a little bit lower. I guess it's about how to get into it. And we're talking about just limited budget, online transactions. I guess it's safety. The concern is the safety online. And the other one is also how to get parents who are not yet open, so here are the transition of the young generation wanting to bring their parents to the next step. So that's another issue, a challenge. How do the young people convince their parents, who seem to still be the ones in control of the business, how to move to the next level? So, and then I think there are a couple of issues here about community level. There are platforms that remain in the lower levels, and how to transition to the next level of in the digital space. The other one, I think it's really a lot of people are more concerned about how to transition also from traditional marketing going to digital marketing, and how do we get incentives for SMEs to be funded, and on research and development for SME innovations, if there is something like that coming from government. And I think those are probably it. Security, making the transition, the issue about the cost. So I think that those are the basic things that they seem to be challenging, that challenges the SME coming from the questions here. But I think also I'd like to add one coming from me. It's possible that it's also the internet connectivity in other areas of country that's possible issues, and I think maybe that should be addressed at a later time. Okay, and I think that's all that is coming from my group one. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sir Edwin. That's perfect. We can hear directly the problems. I hear similar things that we discussed in our group as well, so I can share it with you later. So thank you, Sir Edwin, for nice presentation from group one. So we can invite second Sir Edwin from the group two to share on what's the topic? Wait a minute. Oops, sorry. Closing digital skills gap for the Philippines SME. Please, Sir Edwin.
Yes, good morning, everyone. And this is actually the result of the short discussions with the group breakout session number 2, and particularly on addressing the digital skills gaps for Philippine SMEs. And these are the kind of questions that we are that we have discussed. Now, given the short period of time, actually some of the answers and all throughout the discussions there have been like touching on the different questions as well. So we have come up. My note taker came up with this notes from the discussion. So we basically we have this. The good thing about the group, the breakout group session, we have the different government agencies as well here, like the DICT, and so the discussions flow on the how effective the current government support is. And of course we have also coming from AWS discussing about the different interventions, platforms, services, solutions that they can provide for our MSMEs. And some of the notes like the AWS cloud services being on-demand services, and there was also a suggestion to roll out the national AI roadmap for the SMEs to gain more knowledge about the cloud computing, and of course the on the topic of digital skills gaps. And of course the ICT also mentioned about the programs that they have, like digital jobs PH program, and the web and the capacity building and trainings that they are conducting as well. But the good thing about they have mentioned is, of course, they're also looking forward on the perspective side of MSMEs with regard to the needs that they wanted to be addressed in the concerns of targeting the digital skills gaps, and of course to align those training needs that they would be needing. Some of the mentioned figures here, like sales increase and trainings, are the ones like the output of those interventions that has been mentioned by the Department of Information and Communication Technology. And the problem gaps that has been mentioned is, one is in the use of mobile digital wallet, the lack of knowledge on the usage, the preferred modes. Others go into traditional still, and of course the perennial problem of security that the MSMs are looking into. And of course, on minimizing digital skills gaps, we discuss about still the webinars and trainings need for MSMEs, and the need for whole of governance approach, or whole government approach, where there is a need to interplay various government agencies, ensure convergence with regard to digitization and digitalization concerns. I believe those are the things that have been discussed by the group, and there are a lot of things that, of course, to answer, with regard to the questions. But given the limited time, I believe the group has touched on most of these questions that are given to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sir Edwin. That's really, really a lot of discussion in the second group. So, okay, I'm gonna share our discussion from the group 3. So if we already heard from Sir Edwin about challenge and the potential, and then about the closing digital skills gap, our discussion is about the looking ahead, the importance of collaboration for Philippines SME development, because we discussed about why the collaboration is important. It's really nice. Like in our group, we have the representative from the ICT and also DTI and also like some SMEs as well. We discussed one of the objective creating the collaboration. First is creating a capacity building program. So it also can help the SME by creating a training and also mentorship to the SME. We also need like to create to change the mindset of the SME to motivate them to join to the digital environment, and maybe by having create a platform that localized, so it will be helpful for SME to see something familiar for them by joining the digital environment and platform. And also another things that we hope that can solve is maybe creating a standardized pricing of app for app and design, because sometimes it's really expensive, and maybe this is something that we need to discuss together with the other parties that responsibility for this. But another thing by having the collaboration is also addressing the problem of limited ICT infrastructure, because we cannot talk about the big things, create something, create innovation if the infrastructure is also not supported. So at the same time, we also need to create like an inclusive ICT infrastructure. It's not only just for the SME itself, but maybe, attracting and create more access platform for the person with disability, for example, on using internet. Another thing that we discussed in our group as well, first, we want to create a collaboration. Sometimes we need to create the information accessible so everyone knows about the program, everyone aware about the activity that the other parties are doing, because the point of having collaboration is, sharing our expertise and sharing our solution, so everybody can access that and hopefully can easier, the challenge and the problem itself. At the same time, when we are empowering our SME, we also need to empowering the consumer itself. So the digital literacy is not only just for the the business, but also the customer also need to enhance themselves and having more digital skills, knowledge, so they can access the product and services available in the new digital economy. And lastly, I think there's also a discussion on how we can address the problem of access to finance. I think it's similar like the discussion in the group one, because after all, enterprise needs capital to support the business. And lastly, we can enhance access to business matching opportunities and strengthen capacity program to the grassroots. So I think that's it all from our discussion. I hope that I cover everything from our group 3 discussion. Guys, I know like one of the example of collaboration actually from public-private partnership is the ASEAN SME Academy. So that is the program that we work together with DTI and PTTC, US-ABC, and with our member companies like AWS. So I think, thank you very much, everyone, for a nice discussion. I really hope that it gives you insightful. I hope that you also can connect with each other in the group as well, in the meeting, sorry, in the chat box. And I'll give it back over to our hosts, Miss Bernice and Sir Paulo, because after this we will hear about the ASEAN SME Academy. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Tami, Mr. Moran, and Mr. Pasal for a great breakout room session. We are surely thrilled to hear the Philippine SMEs' thoughts and feedback regarding the development of the SMEs.
And we've been in some of the rooms, and truly there are a lot of wonderful discussions that happened during the breakout sessions. And we thank our participants for being engaged in and participative in this breakout session. And we hope that the inputs that were given during this breakout session will take effect or will be applied to our MSMEs in the future. And before we close today's workshop, we would like to promote the ASEAN SME Academy website. And we will hear from the Executive Director of the Philippine Trade Training Center Global MSME Academy, ED Nelly Nita Deliera, about the benefits, tools, and the updates from the ASEAN SME Academy. Please, ED Nelly, the screen is yours.
Hindi ko ako makita. Thank you. Thank you very much, Bea and Paolo, and good afternoon, everyone. It's good to see, virtually see each and everyone supporting, of course, the programs that we have at the Department of Trade and Industry, and of course, supporting the programs that we are pushing for the whole of ASEAN. Okay, so again, as we all know, the MSMEs are the backbone of the economy, not just in the Philippines, but in the whole ASEAN member states. And we know that the pandemic sent shock waves affecting our ASEAN MSMEs. To help and assist MSMEs in ASEAN SMEs recovery, the promotion and improvement of ASEAN Academy was enforced. Okay, I think we have to move our camera somewhere here, so I won't be looking on the other side. Okay, let me just try to click this. If it's moving, is it moving? Or is it moving? Okay, the ASEAN SME Academy now is more responsive to the needs of MSMEs as it fosters inclusive growth of ASEAN micro, small, and medium enterprises through a self-help and self-paced, world-class, attractive, user-friendly, and inclusive online learning tool. So sa lahat po nito, alam ko mga Pilipino yung mga participants natin dito ngayon, ano? We all know that sabi nga nila, the Philippines is actually, well, not only the texting capital of the world, but we hope that you will really make use of your gadgets in accessing information or educational materials for you to be able to move forward. So our SME Academy, ASEAN SME Academy actually offers free, libre po, localized resources and services on ASEAN context-specific as well as networking opportunities for MSMEs to upgrade their capacity and make sure that this is relevant for the ASEAN MSMEs. Okay, balik ko lang po yun, ano? This is also a venue for you to network, okay? This was initially launched in 2016, wherein the Philippines could attest to its usefulness. Ginamit talaga nating mga Pilipino, ano? Mabilis naman talaga tayo dyan. If we're actually seeing some benefits that a program can provide us, we actually make use of it. Sana tuloy-tuloy lang, ano? Since more than half of registrations are Filipinos. Since 2016 hanggang 2022, this year po, we had 471,000 plus website visits. Halos aabot tayo ng 500,000. And more than 2,600 sessions conducted and more than 9,800 registration across yung 10 member ASEAN countries natin. So ang ganda, no? And as I mentioned, pinakamataas po dito ang Pilipinas. So we would like also to say na dahil pinakamataas yung registration ng Pilipinas, Pilipinas rin po ang isa sa pinakamalaking, kumbagang, nakinabang dito sa online learning platform since more than 50% of the registered participants are from the Philippines. Specifically, we have 5,048 Filipinos or individual MSMEs registered. Now, in April 2022, nandiyan ba sa ating slide, an improved ASEAN SME Academy was featured. Ayan po, nilaunch siya, no? Launching of the revamped ASEAN SME Academy in April 2022. Magtataka kayo, why do we have to revamp and why do we have to update? Kasi nga dumaan tayo ng pandemic and there's already a need for our MSMEs to upgrade, upscale, and to consider yung digital tools and technology solutions for them to move forward. So not only that, there was also a claymore before from other ASEAN member countries to make it multilingual. So that's why in the new ASEAN SME Academy, we call it ASEAN SME Academy 2.0, a multi-language support, new visual, mobile-friendly interface, top online resource for SMEs and self-certification. So yun, ganda, di ba? Kasi if you're looking for, training programs kahit na online, but you're considering the certification that you can acquire from learning a certain training, dito po makukuha ninyo yun. Yung mga certification programs, if you are able to complete it and, successfully answer the questions maybe or the quizzes or the examinations, those certificates can actually be used when you want to apply for jobs. Pwede siyang gamitin. So this was attended by more than 800 participants online and face-to-face from across the 10 ASEAN members. So since 2022, we have a total of 2,006 website visits. Yan yung mga figures natin, mga sessions, and even registrations. And even dito po sa Pilipinas, ang major user pa rin natin, dito for 2022 lang, we launched this in April, tama ba, April? And we already have 212 new registration. Kaya we're calling on you. How many people do we have on Zoom and on Facebook right now? Daming numbers yun 200 plus? Okay, 200 plus, please po. Tingnan nyo, abangan niyo dito towards the end of my presentation. We'll be giving you the link. Please make it be known to all the people in the ASEAN region that we're actually making use of the ASEAN SME Academy, and we're really, learning a lot from this. So the current COVID-19 crisis is a catalyst to accelerating digital transformation. Sabi ko nga kanina, kailangan na nating mag-align, kailangan nating ayusin dahil nga of the COVID-19 pandemic. We need to digitalize. And it is vital to develop and enhance SMEs' digital skills to enable them to fit into the new digital economy and choose the right solutions to enable swift economic recovery and growth. So, if you are an SME business or in the business, you're a private citizen, you're in the youth sector, bata pa kayo hanggang 21, women and other traditionally marginalized group, the ASEAN SME Academy is perfect for you. Okay? But you can only say that it's perfect for you if you are going to try it. Okay. So the ASEAN SME Academy houses, it actually houses 107 online learning courses. Saan pa kayo, di ba? Saan ba kayo makakahanap na isang area lang siya, isang platform lang siya, isang site? You can already access more than 100 learning courses for your different business functions. Whether it may be, if you're looking for, courses or topics or information about technology, about management, about operations, may marketing, human resource, or even trade and logistics, you have a lot to choose from doon po sa ating online platform. So if you are in startup, pwede rin kung nagsisimula pa lang kayo, nag-iisip pa lang kayo magnegosyo, or ready to export, ayun po, from local hanggang global, the Academy provides leveled courses to assist you. Our MSMEs track yourself and enterprise progress from a startup to the next one. So makikita nyo, if you already if you're a startup and trying to reach the export market, it can also provide you guidance as to where are you, what have you already completed. Kumbaga, parang meron siyang dashboard. Really, the ASEAN SME Academy will help you upskill and reskill, even generate new skill. Yun naman talagang pinaka-objective natin. And the good thing is, these 107 courses are from 20 Fortune 500 companies, di ba? Lahat ba tayo may access nito? Hindi naman lahat, pero dito sa ating ASEAN SME Academy, ito po yung ating mga providers ng ating mga courses. Hindi ko na sila isa-isahin, but these are considered the 20 Fortune 500 companies. So, yung content nila are used para po sa kanilang mga companies, and now you are given the opportunity to also, di ba, benchmark and find out why these companies have become big and why these companies have become successful, and by learning what they have been doing in their respective companies, I think you can also do something. So aside from our courses, one of the features of the ASEAN SME Academy is the COVID-19 tab. The COVID-19 tab is envisioned to be one-stop tab where ASEAN SME Academy users can access e-learning modules, webinars, communities of practice, and curated tools and resources on business continuity and resilience. Kailangan yan, di ba? Dito sa mga kababayan natin sa Pilipinas, sorry po, kahapon nagkaroon tayo ng lindol dito. And I think some of our MSMEs, especially in areas na talagang apektado, we're forced to stop operation. So ito yung mga sinasabi natin, how we can continue our business despite of, strategies that are, mga tragedies that are happening and the disasters that are happening. So we need to be prepared. So may mga ganun tayong contents doon. So to equip and support them in their COVID-19 economy recovery and transformation. For business continuity, the COVID-19 tab will provide content for ASEAN SMEs on how to anticipate disruptions. Sabi ko nga kanina, yung lindol na nangyari ngayon kahapon sa Pilipinas, is one way of, one thing that we also consider as a disruption. Especially kung kailangan you're forced to stop operation. And you should prepare a plan to ensure that business operations can continue if disruptions like this happen. So while for business resilience, the COVID-19 tab will provide content for SMEs to learn how to develop and enact mechanisms that enable them to adapt to sudden or incremental changing conditions and continue business operations. So tandaan po niyo, yung COVID-19 tab will be very useful, especially if we are looking for, ways how to have business continuity programs for our respective enterprises. Also, another feature of the Academy is the Communities tab. This serves as a mentoring and network platform to help you on your road to recovery. Ano maganda doon sa community? Kasi sa community po natin, minsan merong mga foreign, di ba? May mga foreign resource persons or mga foreign mentors and coaches who can actually provide you assistance online. Pwede kayong mag-usap doon. With all these materials and resources for you, okay, free. The good thing is that ASEAN MSME Academy is free. This is a centralized and easy access. Sa cellphone man ang gamitin ninyo, laptop ba siya, or iPad or whatever, it's easy to access, it's centralized. So you can enroll to its new courses, which we ensure are timely and it's updated, it's relevant, and will totally assist you towards capacity and capability building. So, eto po yung sinasabi ko kanina, challenge po natin ito for the more than 200 MSMEs online right now. This is just the Philippines, but we wanted you to also encourage, people, if you know some enterprises across the globe or across ASEAN, please let them register. So kayo po, inaasahan namin, nandiyan sa ating website and nandiyan sa ating screen ngayon, ang website where you can access the ASEAN SME Academy online learning materials, the communities, the networking, and the mentoring, the coaches that you can connect with. Again, just to emphasize, https, hindi ko alam paano sabihin, //ASEAN-SME-Academy.org/. Okay? So again, the Philippine Trade Training Center is actually hosting, as part of the Department of Trade and Industry, is hosting this online learning platform, and we are again encouraging you to register so you get the most of what this site or this platform can offer. Together po, sabi natin, together, we're training for nation building, but together, we can rise if we also do something for ourselves. So this is something that we're already forwarding to you, and I hope that you take this opportunity of really learning and also sharing this information to everyone. Again, on behalf of, sino ba, Danica De La Cruz, our ASEAN SME Academy Coordinator, of course, si Roland, and the whole team of Market, si Arnold and si Jason and si George. Thank you very much for joining us today, and see you again in the next sessions that we'll have on ASEAN SME Academy. Thank you. Good day.
So thank you, Idanelli, for your presentation.
And of course, to support that, we have prepared a short video presentation about the ASEAN SME Academy. So please watch this ABP.
ASEAN Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, MSMEs, are a very heterogeneous group of firms, from micro firms to high-growth startups to small family businesses. They represent between 97 to 99% of firms and between 60 to 80% of total employment across Southeast Asia countries. They are undeniably the backbone of the region's economy. The region suffered hard from the COVID-19 pandemic, but the one who got hit harder is definitely MSMEs. Unlike larger companies, MSMEs face greater financial constraints, such as limited capital, capacity, and resources. Despite the hurdles, ASEAN is one of the fastest growing digital economies in the world. The rapid digitalization in society has shifted people's behaviors and lifting business through digital tools and sphere. The ASEAN SME Academy has been providing resources for these ASEAN MSMEs since 2016. The platform aims to leverage and develop ASEAN small businesses through its various courses from the top US companies. Due to constant dynamics resulting from the COVID-19 pandemic, trade agreements, to disruption from digitalization, ASEAN MSMEs faced various roadblocks in operating their business. Thus, current website needs a major upgrade to be able to deliver necessary, relevant materials and a supportive online learning platform for the ASEAN MSMEs in this digital age. And now, we proudly introduce you, the ASEAN SME Academy 2.0. The ASEAN SME Academy 2.0 will bring MSMEs across ASEAN with more valuable and insightful courses in a brand new, sophisticated platform. Available across all devices, including mobile phones and tablets, a brand new experience awaits learners who will be able to easily browse the ASEAN SME Academy in an intuitive and user-friendly interface, and enroll in courses which are most relevant to them, in 3 local languages at their own time and pace. Learners will also be able to access a robust collection of content, including webinars, written content, and podcasts. Also featured in the new ASEAN SME Academy, a curated tab which will be focused on for COVID-19 recovery module. This curated module will provide extensive resources and curriculum to help ASEAN MSMEs further. Tying it all together, we hope to bring together MSMEs in the digital world through our community features, allowing learners to interact with each other and with ASEAN SME facilitators. When the MSMEs completed their learnings, they are able to collect their own certifications from the website. The learners can also share what they're learning and get from the ASEAN SME Academy to their own network. We encourage you to go visit and enroll the courses on the new ASEAN SME Academy website now. If you already registered to the old ASEAN SME Academy, make sure to check your email from the organizer and click the Activate button. After you activate it, just sign in directly to the ASEAN SME Academy website, so you don't have to create a new account for this. The registration process for the new user is also simple and direct. Just fill in all your details and then click Sign Up. You are now part of the ASEAN SME Academy community with a few clicks. What are you waiting for? Go visit ASEANSMEacademy.org.
Thank you for that video. So We encourage everyone to sign up at the ASEAN SME Academy. The link to the ASEAN SME Academy will be posted in the chat box.
And of course, we've invited one of the users to share her experience from the ASEAN SME Academy. Let's give it up for Miss Jenna Catherine Cueto, owner of RC Arts and Crafts, and at the same time career advisor in STI College Lipa.
Good afternoon, everyone, to my fellow entrepreneurs, and of course to Ms. Danica again. Thank you so much for inviting me to share my experience for the ASEAN SME Academy. So let me introduce myself again. So my name is Jana Catherine C. Cueto. So I'm the owner and founder of RC Arts and Crafts, currently a career advisor and marketing head for STI College Lipa, and an incumbent public official as an SK chairperson in one of the barangays here in Lipa City, Batangas. So I found out about the ASEAN SME Academy back in 2020. So it was during the pandemic and sobra pong nakakatuwa. Why? Because ASEAN SME Academy let me learn and grow as a professional, as an entrepreneur, and as a person as well. So I found out about the Academy online, asking a friend if there is like an online platform with free courses so I could still upskill even though I was retrenched from work because it was during the pandemic. So finding out about the ASEAN SME Academy, I took courses on marketing, on operations, finance, and there's also the trade and logistics. So what's very good about ASEAN SME Academy is it is seamless. At the same time, it is user-friendly, and definitely the courses that you will take will help you not only in your work, but also in your business. So currently, the skills that I've learned, especially on digital marketing, is I could apply it currently at my work as a marketing head and career advisor. So furthermore, what I love about ASEAN SME Academy as well is how the design and structure of the courses is available for us, for someone who's a beginner, for someone who's growing their business, and from someone who is ready to export. So as discussed earlier by Edie Nelly. So before, when I experienced the first launch of the ASEAN SME Academy back in 2020, I was like really confused on how to navigate about it. But gradually I learned, especially that we are in the digital savvy generation already. So as a social entrepreneur, I incorporate the learnings I had as well from the ASEAN SME Academy to connect and create with different businesses, especially the small businesses here in Lipa City. So I help them with their label stickers, and definitely I produce and manufacture my own bags as well. So I could help the environment and reduce the use of plastic and paper bags. And then at the same time, you could still continue to learn even though you're at home, you're at your office, or you're working like me full-time, right? So that is how very helpful the ASEAN SME Academy is. And there are also e-certificates that you could actually have. And just an update, I'm currently having my certification for Meta through the ASEAN SME course for marketing. And I just had my social media marketing certificate from HP. So learning from that, having those certificates, it helps me be eligible enough, especially as a presenter or as a speaker, and definitely as an entrepreneur to help other entrepreneurs as well upskill. So I've been sharing the ASEAN SME Academy to my fellow friends, entrepreneurs as well who are new in the business, because I know that it can not only help us as entrepreneurs, but also the younger generation who are very creative right now. So to my fellow entrepreneurs who are present right here and listening on the Facebook, let us support the programs and courses of the DTI, US-ABC, definitely, and of course, the ASEAN SME Academy. Let us help them reach more younger ones in order for them to upskill and for them to learn new set of skills so they can use it for their future endeavors, not only as an entrepreneur, as a professional, but also as a Filipino who is definitely equipped on leading in this country. So I hope that you would register and sign up and go to the link provided in the chat box below so that you can start your free online courses. So it's very grateful for me to be present again right here to share my story. And I hope that at the same time, you can share your story and journey as well on using the ASEAN SME Academy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Jenna, for sharing your experiences as a user of the ASEAN SME Academy e-learning platform. For those asking in the chat box, there are some courses in the Academy with e-certificates. So there are select courses that you can take that will issue e-certificates. So
Again,
what do you have next,
thank you
Paolo?
so much, Miss Jenna. And now we are approaching to our last agenda for today's workshop. We will have Miss Maxi Crevasa from the US-ABC to provide the closing remarks. So again, Miss Maxi, the screen is yours.
Okay, let me just pull up. There you go. Hi, everybody. First of all, I'd like to thank all of you, starting with our panel speakers, for the insightful and varied talks this morning, to our moderators for guiding us during the breakfast sessions. And most importantly, I'd like to thank you all, the participants who stayed until the end of the session. I hope today's webinar will somehow be useful to all our stakeholders, both in the government and the private sector. And that includes us, because we're also learning from this particular event. Under the key themes, there are several important points raised, so please allow me to recap those sessions before I conclude today's workshop. I'll be as quick as possible. So first, we began our workshop by hearing insightful and encouraging opening remarks from Ms. Bless Lantoyona of the DTI, from Ambassador Michael Mahalak from US-ABC, and Mr. Joey Concepcion, Chairman of the ASEAN Business Advisory Council, Philippines. We appreciate the consistent and pretty robust efforts of the Philippine government, as well as the private sector, to support SMEs in the Philippines. We are looking forward to the upcoming programs with the DICT, DTI, and PTTC, and stand ready to give necessary support where needed. We also heard an interactive discussion and policy update on the Philippine government's progress to achieve strategic goals for the MSME Development Plan 2017 to 2022, which we understand, with the new administration is currently being calibrated. Assistant Secretary Mary Jean Pacheco of the DTI, Director Lourdes Aquilizan of the DICT, both are calibrating their programs, as I mentioned earlier. Also mentioned, gave us an idea of the breadth of the programs that they're currently working on for the MSMEs. So it's a lot of exciting stuff that was mentioned, and we're going to note to provide more time, for the government to give us a better idea of their programs. The next round that we have is our next training opportunity. We also heard from Mr. Tep Visa, who heads Amazon Web Services Philippines. He gave us an idea of how the SMEs have adopted to digital transformation, especially in the last couple of years. And we hope that's been an encouragement for many of you. In the second session, Mr. Paul Sears from Amazon Web Services also presented the initiatives of the US private sector support to address the Philippine SME digital skill gaps. He also shared some strategies to improve SMEs productivity and resiliency through the use of digital tools. And right after, Paul's session, we had 3 breakout sessions, which I think was the most engaging because we were able to hear, from the participants. The views were exchanged regarding opportunities, challenges, and suggested solutions in addressing digital skill gaps for the Philippine MSMEs. So we praise the work of our facilitators, Mr. Edwin Moran from PCCI, Mr. Edwin Pasahol from DTI, and my colleague, Ms. Utami from US-ABC, for facilitating the discussions. We hope the outcome of these discussions, these are going to be in the form of recommendations. They're going to be useful to both the SMEs and the Philippine government. Finally, we finished today's workshop by hearing updated data and insights on the use of the SME Academy from PTTC's Executive Director, Ms. Nelly Nita Guilera, and our Marketing Head and MSME Advisor, Ms. Jenna Catherine from Puerto Entrepreneur. There's nothing quite like hearing a business case from a real entrepreneur. This activity came together smoothly with a lot of work with the help and cooperation of our stakeholders. Therefore, our deep thanks and appreciation to our partners from the DTI, from DICT, from Philippine Trade and Training Center, as well as speakers from all of these different government agencies, and ASEAN-backed Philippines. So lastly, I'd like to acknowledge the great support from our sponsor, Amazon Web Services, for their solid support of US-ABC's Human Capacity Development Initiative. So you can expect to hear more from Amazon, in the next years to come as we're developing the MSMEs here in the Philippines. On behalf of both our ASEAN SME team, and that is Tammy, Bella, and Selena, and my Philippine team, including Angelica, our IT support, Rick, and our very lively moderator, Attorney Margie Lim, and our regional boss, Ambassador Mike Mahalak. A very big thank you to all of our likely by now very hungry participants. So on that note, I'm going to let you go, and I'll turn this over back to our MC. Thank you and have a good afternoon.
Thank you, Miss Maxie, for wonderfully summarizing the day's event. And we thank everyone for attending this workshop. We hope that this workshop is insightful and helpful to develop your business in this economic recovery phase.
And of course, lastly, we would like to encourage all of the participants here to visit and register to the ASEAN SME Academy platform and to fill up the post survey from the link provided in the chat box, or you can scan the QR code which is available on your screen right now. We will circulate the certificate for this event to those who filled out the post survey form. And of course, available again on your chat box is the website for the ASEAN SME Academy.org. Also available on our Zoom chat box is our Facebook page, which is the Philippine Trade Training Center Facebook page for more activities and more programs. So if you are interested in other trainings and other programs offered by the Philippine Trade Training Center, please like and follow our page. Once again, thank you to our participants for joining us in today's workshop.
Have a great afternoon and stay safe out there.
ASEAN Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, MSMEs, are a very heterogeneous group of firms, from micro firms to high-growth startups to small family businesses. They represent between 97 to 99% of firms and between 60 to 80% of total employment across Southeast Asia countries. They are undeniably the backbone of the region's economy. The region suffered hard from the COVID-19 pandemic, but the one who got hit harder is definitely MSMEs. Unlike larger companies, MSMEs face greater financial constraints, such as limited capital, capacity, and resources. Despite the hurdles, ASEAN is one of the fastest growing digital economies in the world. The rapid digitalization in society has shifted people's behaviors and lifting business through digital tools and sphere. The ASEAN SME Academy has been providing resources for these ASEAN MSMEs since 2016. The platform aims to leverage and develop ASEAN small businesses through its various courses from the top US companies. Due to constant dynamics resulting from the COVID-19 pandemic, trade agreements, to disruption from digitalization, ASEAN MSMEs faced various roadblocks in operating their business. Thus, current website needs a major upgrade to be able to deliver necessary, relevant materials and a supportive online learning platform for the ASEAN MSMEs in this digital age. And now, we proudly introduce you, the ASEAN SME Academy 2.0. The ASEAN SME Academy 2.0 will bring MSMEs across ASEAN with more valuable and insightful courses in a brand new, sophisticated platform. Available across all devices, including mobile phones and tablets, a brand new experience awaits learners who will be able to easily browse the ASEAN SME Academy in an intuitive and user-friendly interface, and enroll in courses which are most relevant to them, in 3 local languages at their own time and pace. Learners will also be able to access a robust collection of content, including webinars, written content, and podcasts. Also featured in the new ASEAN SME Academy, a curated tab which will be focused on for COVID-19 recovery module. This curated module will provide extensive resources and curriculum to help ASEAN MSMEs further. Tying it all together, We hope to bring together MSMEs in the digital world through our community features, allowing learners to interact with each other and with ASEAN SME facilitators. When the MSMEs completed their learnings, they are able to collect their own certifications from the website. The learners can also share what they're learning and get from the ASEAN SME Academy to their own network. We encourage you to go visit and enroll the courses on the new ASEAN SME Academy website now. If you already registered to the old ASEAN SME Academy, make sure to check your email from the organizer and click the Activate button. After you activate it, just sign in directly to the ASEAN SME Academy website, so you don't have to create a new account for this. The registration process for the new user is also simple and direct. Just fill in all your details and then click Sign Up. You are now part of the ASEAN SME Academy community with a few clicks. What are you waiting for? Go visit ASEANSMEacademy.org.